manage their regional integration program. Basically, the aim of that is to ensure that all the states work together in a cooperative and a collaborative manner for development, irrespective of political affiliations. So the overriding mandate is to coordinate the framework for cooperation and collaboration in programs and actions for the composite development of what we know as Southwest Nigeria. Our work at dawn is not easy. The public value of the commission is to work assiduously towards creating the essential collaborative and inclusive framework aimed at leveraging the combined assets, strengths, and endowment within the 6 Southwest states of Nigeria for social and economic development, and most importantly, for the survival and sustainability of the region at all times and in all circumstances. So regardless of how harsh or how inconducive the environment is, the work of the Dawn Commission is to make sure that this region, its people, its aspirations, everything remains crystallized. Everything remains on a projected pathway to progress and development. So in consequence of this lofty ideal, on Friday, June 24, 2016, the Dawn Commission commenced her monthly Yoruba historical conversations, which is part of the mission to assist the present generation of Nigerians, especially of Yoruba origin, to have a clear understanding of their history and what it means to develop and sustain a high sense of correct values and ideals within the global space. The Yoruba historical conversation is about connecting the dignity of our past to the opportunities of the future. The maiden edition featured Professor Bolanle Awe as a guest historian. She spoke on the topic, Yoruba Women in History. As a development agency, with the mission for creating a fresh template of organization for the sustained progress of Western Nigeria and its people, we take our mission very, very seriously. Therefore, our mandate involves creating conversations and building the necessary coalition that will ensure that we do not lose our arts, our culture, history, and our civilization as a people. We are concerned about the loss of our social orientation and heritage, and especially the preservation of our history, which is responsible in the main to the abridgment of self. That is now clearly manifesting in everything that we do. The neglect of the teaching of history and the lack of a sense of history has combined to create a generation with very scant regard for our values. I'm sure you will agree with that. We have a generation now with no knowledge of our history, where we are coming from, who we are as a people. And those are the leaders of tomorrow. So, the neglect and, we recognize that only a social revolution can assist in the much-needed recovery, and we are prepared to champion this process at the Dawn Commission. The Yoruba Historical Conversations with the broad theme, our history, our future, is therefore a part of a new initiative designed to assist the present generation of Nigerians, like I said earlier on, to have a clear understanding of their history and what it means to develop according to the dictates of who we are as a people. We have since featured a number of high-profile historians who have done justice to an area of wide topics, to a wide area of topics. Distinguished academics such as Professor Shion Iweso, Professor Emeritus Anthony Shiwaju, Professor Adelola Adeloyin, Professor Isaac Albert, Professor Wale Oyemakinde, Professor Rashid Olani, and recently, Professor Ogunyemi, who engaged the audience at the special edition of the 60th anniversary of Cocoa House. Cocoa House used to be the tallest building in sub-Saharan Africa. It's here in Dubai. It's still standing. It was 60 a few weeks ago. We have also featured non-academic historians who we can now call professors of practice, such as Oloye Lekan Alabi, the Agbakin Olubadan of Ibadan land. These conversations will, on a regular basis, bring together people from diverse backgrounds, spread over generations, who will listen and relate with the guest historian. It shall be a veritable platform for highlighting diverse aspects of Yoruba history and culture. We believe that through this sort of efforts, we can stave off the impending civilization collapse that is staring us in the face. So the YHC, Yoruba Historical Conversation, is an intervention program from Dawn Commission to preserve our history, to prioritize our culture, and to promote who we are as a people. So I welcome you all, and I hope you all engage our guest speaker today. Our guest speaker today is someone who has been with the Commission for a very long time. In fact, if it is the third mainland bridge that connects Lagos mainland to Lagos Island, our guest speaker has been the connection between Dawn Commission and the academia. So we look forward to having him on stage, and we look forward to this very distinguished audience in engaging him. Thank you very much, and welcome to the YHC.
Thanks so much, sir, for that wonderful introduction. And I would like to recognize some of our guests, important guests in our midst. And I'm sure everyone is you are all important, but at least there are some, I'm seeing some of my teachers, my lecturers, my daddies. I can see Professor Shufela in our midst. You are all welcome, sir, Professor Shufela. I can see Dr. Muritala is the head of Department of History. You are welcome, sir. I can see the people from our Ministry of Education. They've been so supportive to have us. All the students that you see here, the Ministry of Education made it make that opportunity for us to be able to engage them and bring them down here. We are welcome from the Ministry of Education, sir. And they also brought the core members along. So we are not just imparting knowledge into our young audience, but into our also useful audience. So the core members that makes the ministry, can you wave your hands? So of course, we still continue in this introduction while we welcome the Director General, Dr. Sheye Oyileye, to give us the opening remarks. You are welcome, sir. Give a round of applause for DG.
Good morning, distinguished audience. My name is Sheye Oyileye. My apologies for coming slightly late. We have another program holding here at UI as well, with the research and development arm of the university. And I had to give a keynote address there as well. I'll, on behalf of the commission, like to say thank you for showing up and turning up. I must admit that on Sunday/Monday, when we heard about ASU strike, we panicked a bit, and we were slightly worried about the impact it might have on today's program. But thankfully, the university assured us that ASU strike will not affect this. So thank you for showing up and for turning up and for coming to listen to an erudite scholar, Professor Tayo Adesina. As my colleague said, Tayo Adeleke Adedoyin, he has been with us from day one. And we look forward to him telling us one of two things about ourselves and our culture and our history and our country. Indeed, when I saw the topic, I didn't even bother to probe further. I told myself I'm going to be an active and avid listener this morning. I want to also thank the Ministry of Education for facilitating the attendance of our young ones. We don't do this for the elderly ones. Yes, it's also a good to reminisce, but for the young ones, it is always important for them to know that they are members or citizens of a great country. It is unfortunate that at times the young ones only think or they look on the other side that, oh, the grass is greener when they jump on the plane. But I always say this, the grass is always green on the grass that you water. So if you water your land, and with the help of God, it will also be green. So I want you to listen. Enjoy Professor Tayo Additional, the man who gave us the word Amotekun. For those who don't know, when you hear Amotekun, Professor Additional was the one when we sat in that room and we were conceptualizing Western Nigeria Security Network, which we all call Amotekun. He was the one that came up with that name, Amotekun, our guest speaker today. As I said, we've been doing this for a few years, trying to connect our past to our present in order for us to own our future. This is a great country. Despite and in spite of the present challenges that we face, we cannot give up. You know, I tell a lot of people that it's easy, as I said, to jump on the plane and japa. But there are also challenges when you japa. It is not always rosy. There are things that you'll face and you'll be thinking, I wish I'm still here. Even for those who have jackpot 30, 25 years ago, every morning, go and look at their WhatsApp chats. It is still about Nigeria. So even if you run away, that Nigerian is in you. If you acquire another passport, you can drop being Nigerian, but you can't drop your name. You are Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa or Fulani, Bibi or Efik. You will stay with that one. You can only change your passport and say, I'm no longer Nigerian. I'm not sure I can change and say I'm no longer Yoruba. But anyway. So thank you, and we look forward to an engaging time. And on behalf of my team at Dawn Commission, I want to say thank you and good morning.
Thanks so much, sir. A round of applause once again for our DG. So I would also like to recognize some of our Baba in our midst. We have Professor Famrewa in our midst. Professor Famrewa was present at August YC edition where we celebrated Cocoa House, and he gave us some background context to Cocoa House as well. I think he witnessed the establishment of Cocoa House as at then. So you are well welcome once again, sir. So we also have Dr. Tunde Adigbola in our midst as well. You are welcome, sir. Dr. Tunde Adigbola has also been, I think, one of our founding fathers of Dawn Commission and YHC in itself. So you are welcome, sir. We have Professor Yabo Yaji in our midst as well. You are welcome, sir. I could remember public administration that we did in 200 level. So you are welcome, sir. I really appreciate your presence. So while we still try to, are the cultural group ready from Ikolaba Grammar School? Are you set? So we should, we're also partnering with Institute of African Studies for this edition of YC program. Although Professor Lauren Yomi won't be able to join us due to some unforeseen circumstances, but we recognize that this is a partnership between Dawn Commission and Institute of African Studies, University of Ibadan. So let's give a round of applause for Institute of African Studies, University of Ibadan. We've been on this together for a couple of months now, back and forth, and they've really tried to at least make this a success. Really appreciate them for that. So while we are getting ready for the cultural presentation, do we have any one of us that were present at the last edition of YC lectures? Do you have anyone around? If you are around, please signify by raising up your hand. There's a gift for you. We brought a lot of gifts for our regular customers. You're all welcome, sir. Oh, we have the some of our media personnel, the Parrot Extra in our midst. You are welcome, sir. So, last edition of YC that happened August 15 was one of these, like a super edition. We used it to celebrate Cocoa House at 60, and we had a lot of exposition about development that happened in Western region of Nigeria between 1952 and 1966. And it was something like, it was an eye-opening. I remember one of our staff, when we are organizing this, still talking about, we saw a building and we are like, who built this building? He said, oh, of course, Nigerian built this building. For those that are present at the YT last edition, we understand when we say Nigerian built a building and our forefathers built a buildings. So, of course, when we saw the building, we were like, who are those that built a building of less than 5 years? We are seeing all the paints almost, a lot of things that we trash during that YC edition. And we were able to understand the fact that our forefathers have the mental magnitude. The lecturer emphasized on the mental magnitude then, and how they were able to use that intelligence to build something lasting as Cocoa House. Cocoa House was celebrated then it was 60, and it's still standing, despite even passing through some years of what's it called? Dilapidation, burns, and the like, fire incidences and the likes. So we had issues we had histories like that. So this is a platform for us to have a recollection, have a reconstructions, and look forward to where are we going from there? What are those things that our forefathers have done, whether good or bad? We don't mind now. Of course, then we're able to understand also that one of those icons that's actually impacted into Western region was Samuel Ladoke Akintola, and we're able to use that opportunity to also appreciate his efforts in the development of Western region. So it's a platform, it is a platform for reconstructing again and again our history. So just have it at the back of your mind that you are here to learn and also do what? And also relearn. Say, I'm here to learn and relearn. So, but in the course of our lecture, I would like to read some rules. Of course, we understand then that it was a very hot conversation, but some of us, as the conversation is getting heated, you might want to have one or two things. Please kindly raise up your hands during the question and answering section. Then we can give you the mic to speak. And you only have just 1 or 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes to have your own contributions or your own questions laid. You can also put your phone on silent so that you won't start disturbing the lecture once the lecture is ongoing. Please kindly adhere to that. Then we also have the male and the female toilet. The female toilet is towards that end, while the male toilet is towards this end. I'm just giving some of these things so that you get to understand the environment you are in. Then you can also start writing your question as soon as it comes to you, so that by the time our lecturer finishes his lecture, we won't start almost maybe you forget your question or you are now rambling around it. So get your questions straight and let the conversation continue. It's a conversation, even though our lecturer is going to give us just a 1-minute lecture, but we have over 30 minutes to interrogate what he has taught us. So are they ready now? Maybe before they come up, I would like to call Oludamilola Halbert to give us the citation of the guest lecturer. Oludamilola Halbert, you are welcome. Please let's give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Professor Olutayo Charles Additional stands as a big. Okay, sir. I would like to invite Professor Additional to the stage. Welcome, sir. Professor Olutayo Charles Additional stands as a beacon of intellectual excellence in the field of history, a scholar, an administrator, a mentor, and a public intellectual, whose career has profoundly shaped historical scholarship in Nigeria and beyond. With over 3 decades of dedicated service, Professor Additional has established himself as one of Africa's foremost historians. He earned his PhD in history from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria, where he laid the foundation for a distinguished academic journey devoted to the study of sub-Saharan African history, with special focus on Nigerian history and the economic history of West Africa. A prolific writer, he has authored and co-authored numerous books and over 60 scholarly articles exploring globalization, transnational migrations, identity, conflict, and the modern African experience. His works continue to influence contemporary historical discourse across Africa and the wider world. Professor Adesina's academic excellence has earned him prestigious international fellowships, including the Atlantic History Charles Warren Center, Harvard University, the Rhodes Chair of Race Relations, Oxford University, and the Institute of Advanced Studies. He is also a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Letters, a recognition reserved for the nation's most distinguished scholars in the humanities. In 2004, Professor Adesina was awarded the British Academy Global Professorship, a landmark recognition that supports world-leading research. His funded projects, the Town and Gown Interface, Ibadan and the Decolonization of Social Knowledge in the 20th Century, examines how indigenous epistemologies and academic thoughts interacted in shaping modern African knowledge systems. Beyond his research, Prof. Adesina is a passionate mentor who has guided countless students and supervised numerous doctoral candidates who now excel across academia, governance, and the public service. His influence extends well beyond the classroom, nurturing minds and inspiring generations. Just like our DG mentioned earlier, he's a friend of Dawn Commission, and he delivered the 11th Yoruba Historical Conversation Lecture in 2019. He also proposed the name Amotekun for the Southwest Regional Security Outfit, which is a reflection of his enduring engagement with contemporary socio-political realities and his commitment to Yoruba and Nigerian development. Please put your hands together again.
Stand up, stand up, stand up for, and put your hands together for Professor Adesina. Professor Adesina has been my lecturer from 100 level, from 200 level, because I got in 200 level, up to the master's level. He has taught us not just about history, but the nuances and the silences of history, because those are some of his terminologies that many of us still keep to date. So he has been a very, very supportive system to not just Dawn Commission, to a lot of students all over the world. So let's give him a round of applause once again, sir. You are all welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. You can go ahead for your presentation. So did you read?
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First and foremost, let me go through the protocols by thanking the Director General of the Development Agenda for Western Nigeria, Dr. Sheye Oyeleye, who has been my brother, friend, as well as compatriot. We have come a long way from the days of Great Ife up till now. I thank you for giving me the platform not only to participate in everything done, but everything security in the southwest of Nigeria. Thank you very much. I also thank today my head of department, the head of history, Dr. Muritala Monsuru Olalekan, for also allowing me to participate in this conversation. Because as head of department, if he says no, then it means no. But I thank him for releasing me to come for this. May I also at this juncture thank each and every one of us for dressing up and showing up. Thank you so much. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome. Well, let me begin with a caveat. I also want to inform my compatriots that this is not a political symposium. You heard that? Yes or no? Okay, but what you don't hear is the fact that it is also a political symposium. You didn't hear that? Okay. Because no matter how historians talk or operate, whatever we say is historical, but at the same time, it is also political. But what it is not is a rabble-rousing movement. I don't want a situation in which I'm going to be quoted and you will say Adesina has said so, and Luther must begin now. That's not the purpose. It is just for our self-knowledge, and we hope that this self-knowledge would also inform developments in society. Because as historians, we are members of society, we are also the teachers of society. And so whatever we do, whatever we say, has not only historical significance, but also contemporary significance. And so that's why today, I am talking about contemporary Yoruba elites and the bystander effect. We all look at certain things in society, and people in society will quickly tell you, "Kí ló kàn ẹ́ ńbẹ̀? Kí ni tiẹ̀ ńbẹ̀?" And that in itself has debarred members of society from participating in all things. And at the end of the day, you hear people saying almost every day, "Má jẹ́ kán rí tí ẹ wí." So if they don't rí tí ẹ wí, ta ni kán rí wí? And that's why everybody is moving back from a lot of things. In the days when we were growing up, we had those we call the Baba Adubos. These Baba Adubos, they are on every corner. They are busy reading newspapers, but they are also seeing everything you are doing. And when you do certain things that is considered an anathema, they take their cane and flog you. And when they flog you, when your parents come in the evening, they tell them, and your parents will still flog you. But all that is gone now. All that is gone because certain developments have precluded them from continuing with the old tradition of Baba Adubo. If you flog these children nowadays, you know they have a spirit and body as strong as the chocolate eclairs. Once you beat them, they die. And then you are in trouble. That ends your Baba Adugbo career. So a lot of things have gone. And society is suffering because of these issues. Everybody wants to do daddy, be your own. Look after your children. Even the children inside the house, you can't afford to beat them too much. So these are some of the things I'm going to attend to today. And so let's look at contemporary Yoruba elites and what I have called the bystander effect. So I have given you the caveat, but this is my humble attempt as a historian to understand the relationship between tradition and modernity on the one hand, and between the younger and older generations on the other. Those of us who grew up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, we were very close in culture, in age, to those before us. But the children from the 90s, 2000s, are so far from us that you cannot even have a conversation together. You cannot. And so right now, society is working at cross purposes. The younger generation does not want to hear what you want to say. The older generation is not listening to the younger generation because they think what they are saying is balderdash. It's the way it is now. And so how do we begin to reconstruct society that a conversation goes on, not only in the house, but also in the street, on the street, but also in our classrooms? No conversation is going on. So when we teach this generation, there is a popular song now. When you are in the classroom now, this younger generation will kill you with the sear of their eyes. So say what you want to say and get out. And that has a discouraging effect on teachers. And so the teacher will also mumble one or two things and then go out. So learning is not going on in this age. It's not going on. And when we say that, people ask us, okay, the university system, so what are you doing? What are you talking about? We acknowledge that gradually the university system is becoming anachronistic. So unless we go back to the drawing board to begin to re-engage culture, re-engage society, re-engage modernity, we will all just be in the classrooms teaching a younger generation that doesn't want to listen. So until the university system itself begins to understand this issue, then the process for recalibrating society will not begin. And we need to do this. Because today, ASU is on strike. Yes, it's all for the best. But in our days, for ASU to be on strike meant you are debarring us from having the opportunity to knowledge. But today, nobody cares. If ASU is on strike 1 month, 2 months, not the government, not the society, which is a very strange development. And so we are begging society to begin to look at all these issues dispassionately. When I was last head of department, 2 of my 400 level final year students, second semester, dropped out. We were doing their results, putting together their results, and I asked, where are these 2 students? They didn't sit for their exam. They said, no, they left. I said, why? Second semester, 400 level. They said they are now trading in the Republic of Benin. It shows that, well, as far as they were concerned, it's more profitable for them to become traders in Benin Republic than to continue to stay in the classroom in the university. Only God knows how many millions they now have. And then, of course, I'm looking forward to the day they are going to come to the department to come and greet us with their G-Wagons. And their lecturer will go to his, in fact, they will deliberately park near your Toyota that is 35 years old. And then, of course, greet you very well to make sure you see them. Because it is one thing for them to come, it's another thing for you to see them. For how long are we going to, continue to live this kind of life? So, we are here to explore the landscape inhabited by Africa's most educated and resourceful people, the Yoruba of southwestern Nigeria, whether you like it or not. In Africa, Yorubas know they carry last. Anywhere. And so this is being done within the context of a symbiosis of indigenous knowledge systems, and modernity. We have continued to retain our indigenous knowledge systems, but we are also modern. So the amalgamation of both, what are we getting from it? I am particularly interested in what I would call the tyranny of the elites. This, of course, concerns public interest and the common good. As Edmund Burke said, and I quote him, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." End quote. We have at one point or the other been victims of the erratic nature of our elites. Let me start with a brief background story. And this story concerns Oyo State. I was a citizen of Oyo State until Osun State was carved out from Oyo State on August 27, 1991. And I'm particularly talking to the younger generation who feels that they are suffering. Nobody is talking about their suffering. Nobody is interested in their suffering. Everybody is just behaving as if we don't notice that things are bad for them. And I tell my children that what they are going through now is even so small compared to what we went through in the 1980s with the introduction of the structural adjustment program. You don't want to experience SAP. It was really very bad. No money, no food, no job, nothing. Some of us who didn't even know Lagos would not go to the embassy. We didn't even know about embassy. But nowadays, you know embassies. At least you run away. In our days, what are you going to do in Lagos? It's not your business. So that was a big problem for us. So when we finished NYSC in 1986, there was no job. I'm sure some of the people we graduated together and finished NYSC together in 1986 are still jobless today. Because I was jobless for 5 years. But because I had age on my side, I could still do a lot of things. But in case of so many of them who were already 25 when we finished service, by the time you are unemployed for 5 years, you are already 30. No organization will take you any longer because you are overaged. So if you are crying today that, oh, things are very bad, we also went through it. But why Oyo State is involved in my own matter is this. Just to show you that elites will be elites any day, anytime. So one day, Oyo State, I'm still searching my heart to see how I'm going to forgive Oyo State. They brought out an advert and said they were going to recruit teachers. They used to call them the Central Schools Board or something like that in those days, not Teaching Service Commission. So all of us who were unemployed, maybe about 2,000, 3,000, we showed up at that place. And you know what these people did? We were there for an interview. The panel was there in one big room. The privileged elites, eating granuts, biscuits, drinking Coke, and here are 21, 22, 23-year-olds looking for a job. You know what they did? They were calling us in 30 candidates at the same time. And so they put chairs everywhere. We all sat down. We expected them to be calling us in one by one. But apparently they had already settled the people they were going to take. We were just mere statistics. And so when 30 of us came in, when my group came in, our own batch of 30, one of them said, yes, you are all welcome. Good morning. You, who was Mansa Musa? The guy answered, you, where did the River Niger meet River Benue? Somebody else answered. And in 5 minutes, the interview was over. Nobody asked for our names. Nobody asked for our certificates. Nobody wanted to know anything about us. And yet, from that exercise, people were recruited. How did it happen? I knew those who were recruited. And so, if a young man would not be angry with that one, tell me what else will cause you to develop an anger against society. So the elites at any point had always been backward-looking elites. And I have not seen anything in today's elite that says they are different from that set of people. I hope, we people work with documents. I hope one day I will research at the secretariat looking for something else, and I will get the names of those who interviewed us in. Because it was really unfair. It was unfair. So you begin to understand the bystander effect when you also tell people whom you think would help you to get a job to say, I went to Ibadan today to attend a teaching service commission interview. They say, because they are also powerless. They are also powerless. So how do we begin to understand elites in our society as serious-minded people? How do we begin to call them to order to say what you are doing is not right? It's not right. So if you do not have somebody who can bring you into service, if you do not have your townsmate who can bring you into service, then you're out there growing old gracefully, looking for an employment. So these are very important things that we must begin to engage in society. I am trying to show a video of 2 or 3 people that will convey the kind of anger young people are feeling about the elites, about society today. But Dawn Commission is still following my hands in setting this up, but I'm sure they will get it right. Okay. Like many of my generation, I was a victim of the Nigerian elite's lack of capacity and empathy. Our economy collapsed. And I tell people till now that Nigerians do not have any business with poverty. We are too rich, too endowed to be poor. So what are they doing? Even if they tell you Nigeria is broke, okay, let us, for the sake of argument, accept that. Nigeria is broke, but some people are still spending dollars. Their children are doing very well. Okay, so why should some people have and we don't have? We pump crude oil every day. We have gold reserves everywhere. Yet some people are exploiting these gold reserves and benefiting from it. So the conclusion about that is Nigerians do not have any business suffering from poverty. So how do we begin to call the elites to order? This is very important. Yes, from the 1980s, we began to feel the effects of the ruling elite's reckless management of the nation. Okay, if we all belong to Nigeria, we understood that. But that region that is our own, how do we begin to utilize the resources of that region to train our children, to make life worth living for our children, and then we ignore what is happening elsewhere? We understood the deep-rooted issues of corruption, ethnicity, insensitivity, and ultimately selfishness. Our elites are selfish. They're very selfish. Add to that the narrative that the Kaduna Mafia was controlling the country because each age has its own narrative. The elites of your region will point to the elites of another region as your problems. When we were growing up, the narrative we had was the Kaduna Mafia. That the Kaduna Mafia was controlling everything, they are stealing everything, they are giving all the positions to their own people. Okay, we believed. We believed. And diverting all our resources and opportunities to the north, we believed. Then, like Paul on the way to Damascus, this truth started to dawn on us. We realized that elites from the north were not different from those from the east or the west. Their approach to nation building was driven by self-interest. Later, I even recognized that elites were not just the educated ones. So when we talk about the elites, it's not the educated ones alone. There were also non-literate elites, traditional leaders, market leaders, both men and women, transport workers, and others. Within their own groups, they have their own elites. So I will not label the westernized top echelon of society, the ones who steer the country in various ways, as the elites. So I'm not talking about the Western educated elites alone, the political elites. At every layer of society, we have our elites. So who are these elites? Elites are the dominant figure in society. They exist at different layers of society. However, in this context, I am interested in examining elites from various layers: political, economic, social, modern, and indigenous. I was convinced that elites of all kinds have, at some point, contributed to society's problems, and of course, its solutions. So don't let's think that they are there to cause problems alone. Some of them have given us solutions. Awolowo was one of those who was one of the modern elites, and we saw the kind of solution he brought to Western Nigeria. I will consider elites as those who sustain their status and influence beyond even the levels of the state. For example, religious elites are not limited to the clergy. They also include alfas, marabouts, traditional priests, seers, witches, and wizards, among others. Don't you even know that among the witches, there are elites? Oh, how did you know that? Are you part of them? So there are elites. Because some of them will tell you, I get my mind, I go, whoa, masumo. You know, in this discussion, I have recognized elites not only as the educated class, but also as those who operate beyond formal education. At various levels, they are known to hold disproportionate power over society, even outside formal educational structures. They often derive their elite status from political affiliations, wealth, military rank, cultural influence, and social networks and connections, which they use to gain advantage and maintain dominance. At every layer of society, there exists a coterie, a small exclusive group sharing common interests or tastes. For the sake of argument, let us identify our elites. They comprise the educated, political, military, religious, and cultural elites. So if we have a coterie of elites, why is society upside down? Why are they conferring advantages on their own children, close friends, and relatives? Ebenezer Obey apprehended this in the 1970s with his song. I'm sure many of you would not know it, this young generation. You know, so they have identified some people in society to say, we flock together. You are not part of us. It has always been there. And if they use their advantageous positions for us, we will thank them and recognize them that, yes, they are the fathers of society. But there is always the refrain from them to say, "Ọmọ ta ni wọ́n lé? Ta ni bàbá tiẹ̀ ń lé?" These are some of the things we have witnessed at different points in society. Are we victims of bystander effect? And how this affect Yoruba land? And so arising from this, there is what we call elite circulation and distinction. There is always a distinction of being members of the elite. Scholars have identified how elites, disproportionate power and influence are maintained. This may be through violence. If you're a member of the elite, you should be able to use at least one of these approaches. Maybe violence, cunning, being extremely smart, control over institutions, inherited statuses, access to resources, and social networks. Some of our elders belong to clubs, not because they are actually interested in the clubs, but because of the advantages they can derive from being members of those clubs. And so if you are looking for a job, you may even get asked, which club does your father belong to? And you say, oh, he doesn't belong to any club. You already have your answer. You can't be part of us. And so that has created the bystander effect. I will explain this borrowed concept as simply as possible. to help us understand why it is invoked in relation to life and existence in Southwest Nigeria. A clear definition linked to this is a social psychology phenomenon. It's social psychology. Two researchers, Bibb Latane and John Daly, are recognized for their pioneering work describing this effect. It is straightforwardly described as a phenomenon, quote and unquote, where individuals are less likely to help a victim when other people are present, with the probability of receiving help decreasing as the number of bystanders increases. Key individuals feel less personal responsibility to act because others are present. And social influence, where people look to others' behavior for cues on how to act. So once you have people grouped together somewhere, the probability of somebody receiving help becomes more remote because the next person is looking at the next person to say he will help or he should be able to help. Recently, I was listening to a preacher, and the preacher was invoking the name of Sunday Igboho. Hey, I'm waiting for Sunday Igboho to act. You unko? You unko is only, you know, Yorubas have this concept of omolomo lo njede toru toru. Omolomo lo njede dejo. Omolomo ni. And it's one of those bystander effects. To say, my children, move back. Those who can kill the snake are coming. It's bystander effect. So when are we going to say, no, my children, go there, do it? But they prefer to protect their own children so that you can then be used as a cannon fodder. And so, in Yoruba land, it is sometimes invoked as kinitiembe. Kinitiembe, kilokoe. So this is my definition of that. So let us then look at Yoruba land in context. Why is Yoruba land also involved in this bystander effect? We are dealing with a highly educated, cosmopolitan, and sophisticated region where men and women have developed a strong sense of purpose and dignity. We developed that. But what happened to it? How, at the end of the day, did we become what we have become? And you ask me what we have become. And so, is the video ready? Okay, please play the first one. Okay. Well, I hope. Okay. Please kindly listen to what this guy is saying. You may agree with him, you may disagree with him, but let's listen. No, it doesn't. You want to use the microphone? No, it's not working. Okay, well, let them be trying until they are ready. No, that's the Oshun one. No, we are not ready for that one. Here's the other one. I opened this one. I opened it in the PowerPoint. It's the first one you played. Well, given the region's diverse population, it is important to classify. No, that's the Osun one. That one is also open. I'm still going to call for the Osun one later. Well, it is important to classify the area that is Western Nigeria as highly urbanized, complex, and challenging. Yeah, this one. Yes, this one. Not showing. Well, so I hope you get it right. Okay. Well, it is a region that has made significant progress, both within the modern Nigerian state and independently. The livelihoods of the people include agriculture, trade, commerce, ironwork, weaving, and other crafts. We were renowned for our empires, kingdoms, and other social formations. Despite colonial invasion, we retained our identity and stature as a group. Our attachment to our traditional ways of life remains as strong as ever. But it is also a region at a crossroads. This is because both tradition and modernity are vying for control over the hearts and minds of the people. There is also a serious generational crisis, which is where I am actually going. There is a generational crisis, as both the young and old are in stark conflict over life and societal expectations. During the pre-colonial period, Yoruba society knew how to maintain order and promote human and societal progress. Land was plentiful and managed by customs. The Yoruba ideology revolves around dignity, candor, and honesty. Tangible cooperation and coexistence are embodied in ways of life through which existence is negotiated. But we no longer find this in the contemporary period. We have started to jettison some of the values and traditional practices that made the Yoruba, Yoruba. And so I have made a sustained effort to understand the real world issues faced by the Yoruba in the 20th and 21st centuries. But I was caught up in the bystander effect. However, this did not happen when Ibadan at the Battle of 1840 fought the Fulani at Oshogbo. This did not prevent Yoruba groups and individuals from caring for each other and their communities. So what changed? What changed? The British introduced their divide and rule tactics, and we began to limit our interventions to ourselves. And so who are the Yoruba today, and how do they differ from those of the past? An important question is, what are we accusing them of? Let me start by stating that through our acts of commission or omission, we are all guilty of being bystanders in our journey through history to the future. All of us, we are all bystanders. You know, there was a skit that went around sometimes 2-3 months ago. In that skit, the Hausa boys were showing us brave, bloody. To say, kill me today. Kill me today. For the Igbo, it showed, kill me, but buy this thing before you die. But for the Yoruba, as he was running away, he was running and shouting, Ori Yamio. You know, that's the way they saw it. Although I have read Adekunle Benjamin, Brigadier Benjamin, disavowing that, to say most of the people in the 3rd Marine Commando were Yorubas. And that those boys under his command, I'm quoting him verbatim now, that those boys under his command fought like Shege. So don't think we are lazy. So where is that coming from that, oh, Yorubas, ease of life, ease of existence, they just want Igbadun, that's it. No, where did this come from? Is it not the same Yoruba group that defeated the Fulani at Ilorin through the instrumentalities of Ibadan? So we have to go back to understand what the Yoruba stood for in the past and how we can maintain that integrity and identity as a brave, hardworking, and resolute people. And that is the thing that we have to talk about in the modern period. In the 1950s and 60s, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, through a conscious policy and doctrine of a life more abundant for all, began to expand educational access for the people of the region. That advantage established the Western region as a leader in almost every sphere of life. We became the envy of others. The region forged ahead and life was good. Then the honeymoon ended. Regionalism was abolished, and we were packed together with other groups in a federation where might became right. So, what is the core of our existence as a people? In understanding, okay.
I'm a fucking graduate that they are telling me. There's no job in this
And then
country.
listen to this.
But because this country makes it so hard for us, and you can't make a honest living and be rich in this country. Why is it so? We are really suffering. We are really suffering. I don't know how few people have been suffering for over 6 years of your life and can't come out. This is just 9 months of my life on the streets of Lagos, and I am tired. Suffering for over 30 years of your life, you can't come out. Why? Just up and know the tire on and why not they do like this? Nigerians, stop being cowards. I'm still telling you that my father is a coward. He's scared of coming out. Adeboye, you're a coward. Oyedebo is a coward. Let them leave the church. Let the church come outside. These people are ready to die for them. If they tell people say maybe we do 70 days fast, they go 12. If they tell people to come outside now, they don't come out because they don't come.
So you can see the orientation of this youth to say, those of you who think we are there, so we can use the second one now. Down to okay. No, this one. That those of you who were before since 1960, you didn't do anything. You didn't say anything. You know, and so yes, listen to this second one. This one even has a template that is more frightening. You can't find it. There is the play section under the Yes, below the. Well, so what is the core of our existence as a people? In our understanding of the ideas that led to the development of Yoruba land, the Ifa corpus has remained one of the most iconic tools of knowledge and knowledge production. Yoruba land has produced methodology, sculpture, visual and verbal arts, herbs, philosophy and crafts and arts. Morality and ethics are part of the cultural repertoire. What is Yoruba cosmology? As Yoruba people, we have been conditioned for years to remain committed to nurturing our collective consciousness. In this context, you have the principles of hard work, identity, purpose, and a clear mission. In this context, and the clear mission, these are reflected in explicit mantras that shape our existence and pursuit of meaning. And when we talk of the Yorubas, we are talking about people who are wise, wisdom, ọgbọ́n, knowledge, ìmọ̀, experience, ìrírí, intelligence, òye, làákàyè, introspection, iṣẹ́, hard work, ọmọlúàbí, integrity. These are things that actually propel Yoruba land from the past to the present. But like this guy said, all these things have been thrown out of the window simply because the elites are not doing what is proper. So the younger Yoruba boys and girls no longer trust those who are before them. And let us see the problems we are facing in the land now. Inadequate attention by political and social forces has turned us into beneficiaries of inadequate governance. We are all observers of the disasters of youth unemployment, drugs, and migration. These have apparently evolved through resource misuse. Resource misuse. Wastefulness. We are also firmly ensconced in a country where a large percentage of the population craves lawlessness and impunity. And that's where I told you about the Baba Dugos. Lawlessness and impunity. Baba Dugo will come to your house after observing what you did in the morning and say, pẹ̀lẹ́ kí lorúkọ tiẹ̀ o, so that he doesn't misrepresent the person that he's going to report. Once you tell him the name, he goes to your father and say, ọmọ yín gungi, ó gungi láàárọ̀. Tọ́pẹ́ ni. So you know you are in trouble. But nowadays, these Baba Dugbos no longer just care about what happens in their neighborhood. The tradition in those days ni pé ojú kan ló ń bí ọmọ, ìgbà ojú ló ń wò. Is it still the same thing today? No. All these things are gone. They are gone. And that is why today we are going through problems without borders. Problems without borders. You know, inadequate attention by political and social forces turned us into beneficiaries of inadequate governance because people no longer care what they say about them. In those days, they tell you, not your humanity one ṣe. Now, what is more prevalent is, orúkọ tó ń wọ́n mọ́, ó ń jẹ́ lẹ́yìn odi. You know, and so it's now a matter of my teeth is better than yours. See the way Ibori was welcomed in his state. At least he developed his society. People got so much money. And so he's a good man. But if you go into government nowadays, you are clean. You didn't steal anything that you could share with your people. you are a bad man. That is what it is now. This is really very unfortunate. And that is why we have problems without borders, no junction, nothing. You know, these have apparently evolved through misuse or resource misused. And that is why lawlessness and impunity are the order of the day. Then now we have what I call the fear within. The fear within. Part of the reason why we all no longer sleep very well is because we lost control. So there is the fear within. Yoruba land is now ruled by fear and suspicion. Once upon a time, we enjoyed good neighborliness. That was not even too long ago. We ate in our neighbors' houses with friends on the road from school when we share goody-goody, treble, and even kuli-kuli, as well as atamba daddy. You know, all these things, they will tell you, you can catch disease from eating atamba daddy. We ate atamba daddy like no man's business. Even though they told us at home that all these things, you should not buy and eat them. But because we felt we were okay. Me, I preferred the tea from the Hausas at Sabo than the tea from home. You know, because, you know, there was something about it, the way they pour it and re-pour it. You know, we had no fear. We had no suspicion. You know, all within living memory, we can still recollect all these things. Now we are all afraid, all of us. We are afraid of witches and wizards. Oh, the day we are no longer afraid of witches and wizards, all our churches will close down. They will close down. Because by the time pastor tells you there is somebody in your house, the person is tall. That is the source of your problem. Who doesn't have tall people in their homes? You know? And even worse, we are afraid of our children. We are afraid of our children. That is very unfortunate. Now it is you who explain to your children. In our days, it was we who explained to our parents. Oh, why did you do this? You must explain. But now we as parents are the ones explaining to our children. It's on the other side. We are now engaged in a crisis of self-immolation. We are influenced by our customs, culture, and tradition. Churches and mosques have exploited this to manipulate our fears. Nollywood has become a major channel for this fear. Nollywood is part of the problem. Because, yes, my wife does not agree with me on this because she tells me that it is what they see in society that they use to make their films. I said, yes, it could be that, but the way they have embellished it is beyond control. People now use handkerchief on the heads of small children to take their asiki away. You find this in Nollywood. Find it in Nollywood. Somebody told me that one of his best foods was ekuru. I also love ekuru. But he said when he continually had on a film that what it be ekuru jello ebora. He began to ask the relationship between ekuru and ebora. And so that was the day he ate ekuru last. These are issues. They might look very ordinary, but the significance for the youth of this age is significant. Of course, at every juncture, you can also find potsherds with sacrifices. And of course, for every sacrifice, you will also find palm oil. So when my children were growing up and I said, I have never seen you in this house eating yam and palm oil, they looked at me as if something was wrong with me. How could somebody be eating palm wine with yam? And yet in our days, it was one of the best delicacies. No, they don't eat that one any longer. It's about, even when I buy cocoa yam, I am the only one who eats it. You know? When the last Ode of Ife died, and I followed the conversation of the Gen Z online. And for weeks, they didn't bury the Ode of Ife. And the conversation was, they were still looking for some ingredients that they were going to use. Well, nobody knew what it was, but these Gen Zs got into their head and began to exchange online and said, Ife people, tell us these ingredients. Let us help you look for it. And then somebody said, oh no, they are still looking for stragglers, for non-Ife children who will pass through Ife. It's not me saying it, I'm just reporting no. That such people are the ones that they are going to use as sacrifice, and then of course bury with the Oni. I don't know. I have never been there. And then another person said, what is wrong with these Yoruba gods? Why are they interested in blood in these days when they could be propitiated with shawarma? So you could see that it's a different age. Even when you tell them that don't pass through Ife during this period, they say, why? But in our days, we knew why. We knew why. You know, so society has turned full circle to begin to question a lot of things that we did not question in our days. You know, so these are some of the things that have changed our society. We have now brought up a YouTube generation. Everything is YouTube. If it is not on YouTube, it's not important. So the language, culture, and narratives of this group are frightening. What are the contemporary narratives? It is because they are content creators. Everything is content. They are creating content. But for those of us who are a little bit elderly, we go back to the Yoruba culture of trying to find answers to some of these problems from our proverbs. You know what we say? Ogedembaje, alongpon. It's out of control. It's a different generation. We don't have the same language. We don't have the same expectations. We don't have the same culture. But we are all missing something. The happiness of the youth is the safety and happiness of everyone. That's one thing we are all missing. So how do we go back to the drawing board to begin to look at this all over again? You know, so one of the changes to be experienced is the subculture. There is now a subculture, different from the superstructure of society. These are identity-forming categories. Subcultures emerge because the dominant culture does not meet the needs or interests of members of the particular subculture. Subcultures have emerged all over the place. And that is why you now have the Yahoo Yahoo, you have the Yahoo Plus. If you come to a societal gathering now, and the Yahoo Yahoo boy comes with his money, with his car, and with his agbada, he's respected before that professor who is wearing his suit that he bought in 1980. And yet he's a professor. You know, these are the kind of things that have changed. You know, so this is in contradistinction to the dominant culture or dominant people in a particular part of society. So right now we have become the hippopotamus generation. You all know how the hippopotamus is: fat, very slow, lumbering all over the way. We are now the hippopotamus generation. Well, the other generation is now the cheetah generation. The cheetah is regarded as the fastest animal in the world. Because in your own case, you sit down, do introspection, think very well before you take a decision. But this younger generation will take a decision and apologize later. That is what it is. Because they don't know why you should sit down and begin to think. And so that is why we now have the Japa generation. The blatant disregard of intellectuals and the education sector by the political class has caused us immense hardships and enormous resource losses. And we are all watching. It's part of the bystander effect. We are all watching. Even if you don't have the money, you are going to borrow the money so that your children can japa. And so you are in debt all over the place. This is, thank you. This is part of the problem we have now. We are all in debt. And now Kemi Badenoch is helping to send our children home. We are going to be in trouble soon because the money they are sending, remittances they are sending home before will stop. It's going to stop. You know, me, I won't say here, and it's not going to come from my mouth to ask what Kemi Badenoch is doing. You know, but of course, the effect on our children overseas is also very serious. Same thing with Trump in America. Only God knows how many of our children they have, you know, dumped here quietly that we don't know about. And so, what are we doing? Because we are going to have a deluge on our hands very soon. How is Yoruba land preparing to make life worth living for the people they are sending back home? Some of our roads are terrible. Those ones they repaired last year are now bad. And then you begin to ask, so why is it that these roads are bad so quickly? You know, these are some of the things we have to begin to look at. And then, of course, the scramble for a better life and immigration-generated revenue was part of those things that encouraged our children from spending so much at the embassies. 2-3 years ago, you see the number of people who left these shores. And they paid so much because those countries wanted to make money. Now they have made their money. They have allowed the children to stay there for 2-3 years. Now they are asking them to go back home. Some of those who left 3-4 years ago sold their houses. Now they are in trouble. They don't even know how to come back home. Some of them are already in this country quietly, and they have moved to other communities. So let us begin to look at our society and see how we can, at the end of the day, help society to stabilize and then give the younger generation the capacity for all of us to help in engaging in poverty eradication. Because part of what is leading to this Japa syndrome is poverty. If one person gets there, at least remittances will help us solve some of this problem. But what is our government doing? Look, I'm not talking about northern governments or eastern governments. I'm talking about Yoruba governments. It's easy to stay here and say, oh, the federal government. No. Our own people, what are they doing to stabilize society? You know, but we are suffering from a lot of issues. And that takes me to understanding the concept of me, myself, and I. That is what rules us in society now. It is about me. You know, of course, that makes 3 people. Me, myself, and I. All those 3 people must be satisfied before anybody else. You know, this is very unfortunate. You know, we are now viewed by the younger generation as parasites and predators, which we are. We are parasites and predators. You are only angry with Wasiu when he talked about Ganusi. We all want to Ganusi where we have not produced. We have not produced. But because our expectations and our desires and our consumption patterns has become out of control, that's why now everything should come to me. If they put you in a position, 3 of your children must find employment before anybody else. That's not fair. You know, and so if we don't get society back, and if we don't get our people to understand that what we are creating in society is the problem of tomorrow, then we are going to, I mean, look at this guy. He says he's a fucking graduate, to borrow his language, and that is smarter than Mark Zuckerberg. But because he doesn't even know where to turn, no job, no money, nothing, how are we going to help the generation to create wealth? What are we going to do? And I'm not talking about what we teach them in classroom. Beyond the classroom, we have to go to the drawing board. And that takes me actually to what I have called the grand strategy. Well, I have always talked to the DG about creating a grand strategy of the Yoruba society. By the time we create a grand strategy, we look at the issues, we look at the problems, we look at how to get them interested in what we are proposing, and we look at how to marshal resources from everybody in society. Oh, we all pay tax already, don't you know? And I don't mean government tax. We all have what is known as the black tax. The black tax, we all pay it. By the time you find a job, your parents will expect you to take care of them and take care of your younger ones. And so if you are the one who is not selfish, before you can buy a color TV as a young graduate working, it will take some time because your parents must be satisfied, your younger ones must be satisfied. So for some time, your young wife may end up going to the neighbor's house to watch television. And you know the problem with that one. You know, and so we are all looking on creating a generation that is OYO, you are on your own. But I am not going to blame all of us for this. I am also going to blame the traditional institution. The traditional institution is there. They are really not solving some of the problems of society. And so I have waited patiently to see which of our historians will call many of our traditional rulers to order, not only on their consumption patterns, but over the pretentious title of His Imperial Majesty. If you find a Yoruba Oba with the population of his village actually being in the region of 2,000, he wants to be addressed as His Imperial Majesty. But nobody is talking. Nobody is calling anybody to order. We all saw the disagreement between the Ooni and the Alaafin. And I waited for historians to weigh in on the last controversy. Nobody talked. Nobody. Either because they were tired of the whole wahala, or because we have written books, nobody is reading. We have granted interviews, nobody was listening. And so we left the Oni and the Alafin to fight it out. It's not something that should be the order of the day when our children are jobless, when we expected them to facilitate industries into their homestead. We expected them to go on the lookout for their children to be placed in good positions all over the place. Now you are fighting over who was superior. Of course, as historians, we know who is superior. We know. You want me to say it? Àwọn alákòóbá. When we were younger, our rulers were known and addressed as His Royal Highness. But for many of our royal fathers, His Imperial Majesty is neither appropriate nor fitting as a suitable title. And so as they are doing their own, we are watching our younger ones getting money in society by all means possible. And part of this is also because some of them want to be conferred with titles by the traditional rulers. Nobody is asking where you got this money. Nobody. When even traditional rulers also join them in doing this thing. You know, I won't mention names. So the problems of primitive accumulation living in Nigeria has proved enormously challenging for our youth. While millions of young people are roaming the streets in search of non-existent jobs, the children of the rich are having a ball. It does violence to human heart to live in poverty in the midst of plenty. And that is what is happening. You know, we'll also have the problem of parental choices. They are also looking on. The education system is looking on. In fact, it is comatose now. Culture and community is moving backwards. You know, this is part of the problem. The property class has not felt compelled to intervene in societal issues. There is greed, the family structure is collapsing, and the economy is in the doldrums. So we must have, we must reform the complaint system. If you complain now, nobody is going to take up your case. You can't make money, you can't complain to anybody, you don't have solution to any problem, so everybody is just there looking on. You know, so citizens' rights must be upheld through a system that is friendly and accessible. A system meant to serve the interests of citizens has instead become their master. So now we have family values and societal decadence. There is a problem, you know? And then, of course, at this stage, we now need to rebrand Yoruba nationalism. This is not about politics alone, but it's also about bringing back our backyard farming, cleaning. Somebody went to the UK to say she went to a secondary school in which she was told to fetch water and sweep and cut grass. Who among us didn't do it? It didn't kill us. In fact, it's part of what made us to understand the work ethics and the ethos of helping society. And so nowadays, our children will look at it and say, well, it's not their business. They are going to school, but they don't wake up until 7 o'clock. They have nothing to do inside the house before they leave for school. They will finish eating and put their plates in the sink. You know, we have served our parents. Now we are serving our children. That is where we are. And we are all looking on. There is a problem. There is a problem. So, you elites, let us wake up. But of course, part of the problem is state capture. Some people have captured the state. They are not using the resources very well. I have seen the Ogun State government recruiting 1,200 people in one day. That is not a productive way of spending state money, and it is also not going to add to productivity. So let me conclude by looking at the rise and fall of the Omoluabi ethos. We can talk from now till kingdom come about the loss of societal values. This most probably in the stark reality of parents helping to compromise examinations, cyber crimes, and people committing grand larceny in government. It is worrisome when people believe that government's money is nobody's money, and so can be siphoned at will. In the past, when someone without any visible means of livelihood suddenly rolls in money, then society will take him to task as to the source of his wealth. And that is why at every talk I give, I always like to go back to the song of those days. I'm sure these children wouldn't know it, but I hope you would help me to sing it. Kini nwofo le ṣe láyé tí mo wá. Kini nwofo le ṣe láyé tí mo wá. Láyé tí mo wá, kàkà kí n jalè. Kàkà kí n jalè, máa kúkú ṣẹrú. Kini nwofo le ṣe láyé. But nobody cares about that any longer. If you jale, you are smart. You are smart. You know, people come home with chicken caught from somewhere in society, and you see them killing it and boiling it. You are not asking, where are we going to start? So we must change the mindset by creating a Yoruba land grand strategy. Now that we can see that Yoruba land has changed and that old traditional values and ideas no longer work, we need a grand strategy that serves our society and provides the clear direction needed to rebuild. Our young people are versatile, imbued with creative ingenuity. We should add value to what they are. Nigeria owes our youth a more prosperous life, and we must insist on this. Even if we cannot insist on this, let Yoruba land insist on this. The resources available to us are immense. On the continent of Africa, we have the hardest working, most resilient, intelligent, and ambitious youth population. They are extremely bright and globally competitive. At this stage of our development, we need to start building a self-sustaining economy that can provide employment for our children. Let us generate knowledge of progress and development. It is incumbent on all of us to wake up, empower our youths, and redirect their minds towards driving sustainable development, thereby reducing poverty in this country. Let Yoruba land lead and encourage other regions to wake up. We should no longer allow those who attain high office through forged documents to dictate the direction of our youth. Let us stand together to steer this and support the younger generation with our strength and spirit. After all, Israel has transformed the desert into farmland, generated electricity from its expressways, and China has advanced its youth study abroad and return home. Nigerians don't return home. However, our own circumstances continue to raise further questions. What do our higher educational institutions teach? What do we do with the knowledge produced? We have the knowledge, the resilience, and the can-do spirit. All we need now is to innovate and ignite new ideas that will take us beyond the ordinary. To motivate effort and foster extraordinary capacities, we must boost finances and enhance our productive processes. We need to act now. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks so much, sir. Please, let's stand up and give Prof. Additional a round of applause once again. It's really calls for a sober reflection. Like, as I'm hearing out, myself and Mr. Shegun, we're already discussing that. You can have your seats, sir. Yes, sir. So myself, you can have your seats. Myself and Mr. Shegun, we are having a discussion about how this is coming at the very right time. Like, we never discuss some of these issues that we always like discuss at the office with him, and yet he gave us almost all the problems we've been trying to, like, okay, let's put some solutions ahead to, and and of course we are going to have it. We are going to launch. You can see that I have High Yoruba. It's one of the programs that we look forward to solving some of these issues, and we are going to have it launched very soon in this program. So let's give him a round of applause once again. And I hope you have your questions ready. But before the questions, we have some cultural interlude. We have like two presentations from some of our students who will entertain us on Yoruba art, Yoruba cultural expression. So do we have, what's the name? I've forgotten her name again. Okay, do we have the collab? But before the collab, we have a student from the history department itself who actually did a wonderful presentation for us at the last edition, and she's here again. You can come right away. I'm sorry that I couldn't recollect your name. Please, let's give her a round of applause. She really spiced the whole atmosphere up the last edition, when we are going to see a different version of her again. Let's give her a round of applause as she's coming up. Orihima Wunse, Emo Jade, Ejekano. Eko Jade.
Yeah. Ayọ̀kadé o. Àyọ̀ká mòdé gbajúmọ̀ apẹ̀ẹ́sà. Ìbà ni wọ́n mọ fẹ́rẹ̀ mi ò ní ju o. Ìbà lèmi ò fẹ́rẹ̀ mi ò ní ju ààrẹ mi dọ́ọ̀la. Èmi l'Àyọ̀ká akéwì ọmọ kò fowó rọ ọlá. Ẹ ò rí lónìí, mo ríbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin bàbá mi. Ìbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin ìyá mi. Ìbà fábẹ́rẹ́ tó dorí kodò tí ó gbọ́dọ̀ somi. Ìbà fún yàmọ̀pọ̀ tó dorí kodò tí ó gbọ́dọ̀ ṣẹ̀jẹ̀. Aṣíwájú nínú orin kíkọ. Ìbà gbogbo ẹ̀yin àgbápé èdèpèdè. Ẹni tó ti dá kí n tó máa dá. Ìbà gbogbo èrò tó ń bẹ lẹ́yìn mi o. Àyọ̀ká akéwì mo pé mo rí ìbà kí bá mi ò ṣẹ. Mo ríbà lọ́wọ́ bàbá mi o. Bá mi Dr. Muritala Communication bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kálẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ ti tòní. Ẹ ṣé tẹ́ ẹ gbé mi wá sí gbàgede àti gbogbo ọmọ Dan Commission pátápátá. Gbogbo ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Dan Commission mo ríbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yin. Gbogbo ọmọ Ìbàdàn ọwọ́ yín dà, ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Ìbàdàn ọwọ́ yín dà. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Ẹ̀gbá ọwọ́ yín dà, ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Ọmọ Oǹdó ọwọ́ yín dà, ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Èkìtì ọwọ́ yín dà, ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Gbogbo ọmọ Ọ̀yọ́ ọwọ́ yín dà, ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Ọ̀ṣun ọwọ́ yín dà, ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Gbogbo ọmọ Èkó ọwọ́ ọwọ́ yín dà ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Ìbàdàn, ọwọ́ yín dà ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o. Ẹgbẹ́ sí yá o. Gbogbo ọmọ Ẹ̀gbá tó bá ń bẹ nílé mo ní àmọ́ sáà fìràyọ̀ kákéwì lèmi jẹ́. Èmi ó bá yín dénú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lẹ́sẹ̀ ẹ̀ẹ̀kan. Mo ní bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe tẹ́ ẹ já lọ́nà pádọ̀ àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan. Ẹ̀gbá nílé ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Ẹ̀gbá mọ́lísà bí ọmọ gbòǹgbò àkàlà ọmọ erinjogún ọlá òsínlẹ̀kùn palẹ̀ ẹ̀kúndé ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ ẹrú dàpọ̀ lójú ogun kò sí tán ṣe ní Mẹ́kà tí wọn kì í ṣe lẹ́gbàá aláké wọ́n mọ mi ṣẹ̀mí ní Mẹ́kà omi odòkun náà mu nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan wọ́n ń gòkè ara fẹ́ mọ́ kókó Olúmọ náà gò lẹ́gbàá aláké bàbá yín ló gbọ́ngbọ́n tó kọ́ ọmọ tiẹ̀ sábẹ́ Olúmọ ilẹ̀ ooo ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Ẹ̀gbá mọ́lísà bí ọmọ gbòǹgbò àkàlà ó dẹ́lẹ̀ kéní wọ́n ní pé kẹ́ẹ̀fọ́rọ́ lé yín ọ̀mí nílé bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ ẹni gun yẹn lẹ́bẹ́ kí n ro kankan mi ní jọjọ mo gun yẹn lẹ́bẹ́ tán àyọ̀ká mo ro kankan mi ní jọjọ ooo kàkà kẹ́ẹ̀fọ́rọ́ lé yín ọ̀mí ooo ṣebí pẹlẹbẹ gilẹ̀ gbélé mi lọ́wọ́ ìgbà tó tún wá délẹ̀ kejì ẹ̀ wẹ̀wẹ̀ mo tún ní pé kẹ́ẹ̀fọ́rọ́ lé yín ọ̀mí nílé bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan ẹ̀ tún ní lọ gun yẹn lẹ́bẹ́ pé kí n ro kankan mi ní jọjọ mo gun yẹn lẹ́bẹ́ tán àyọ̀ká mo tún ro kankan mi ní jọjọ àṣẹ námú lóró òkè ooo àṣẹ yùmùyùmù lóró òkun ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Ẹ̀gbá mọ́lísà bí ọmọ gbòǹgbò àkàlà òru làṣẹ̀ka èèyàn tó bá ṣe rẹ̀ lọ́sàn gangan olúwa rẹ̀ ò ní farare lọ nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan Ẹ̀gbá oníbàjẹ́ ooo. Ondo ti yá o ẹ ṣé màámi mo mọ̀mọ́ dúpẹ́ pẹ́ òkun ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ owó onítọ́lọ́wọ́ yín gbá kọ̀ọ̀kan gbogbo ọmọ Oǹdó mo ní ṣó ti yẹ ẹ járe nílé àwọn bàbá ẹ̀yin ni Olúbàbáṣọ ọmọ Oǹdó wá dá fiwé mà Olúbàbáṣọ ọmọ Oǹdó wá dá fiwé mà Olúbàbáṣọ Oǹdó nílé ooo gbogbo ọmọ Oǹdó tó bá ń bẹ nílé mo ní ẹ mọ́ sáfìrà ẹ jáde nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Oǹdó èkì mọ̀gún ìyá ìjàmọ́ ọmọ mi làbẹ́jì sojú sí èyí ọmọ ẹni dábùgẹ́ni jájá Oǹdó wọn pẹ̀yìn òní jájá mọ́ ọ̀jájá ni wọ́n mọ̀ pẹ̀yìn tó bá di níwòye ọ̀la mo bí nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan ni ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ adọ́kọ níbi owó ẹgbẹ́sọ ìbí náà porí kí inú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan Oǹdó oníbàjẹ́ ooo. Ọ̀ṣun ti yá o gbogbo ọmọ Ọ̀ṣun ṣàǹbẹ nílé ní àbọ̀rọ̀ òde mo ní ẹ jáde nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́gàngàn bá mi mo dúpẹ́ o bá mi mo mọ̀ dúpẹ́ pẹ́ òkun ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ o gbogbo ọmọ Ọ̀ṣun tó bá ń bẹ nílé mo ní ẹja ráàfìrà nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan ni ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Ọ̀ṣun Òṣogbo òròkè ọmọ sálà ìrènímọ̀gún níyàn aráwì ìṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀dẹ akọ́tẹ̀tẹ̀ kan níjẹ́ ogun gbà yìí kẹ́ tíwájú níjẹ́ olùmọ̀akin wọn ò bá tètè wáyé ọmọ alágbẹ̀dẹ lèmi ò bá mọ̀ ṣe màdú lójú màdú lẹ́nu má ṣàgbéṣalẹ̀ mi wóríwórí àìbímọ nílé onírè kò kò ṣe owó ọkọ ni onímọ̀rọ̀ ni àbí adá ni onímọ̀ bí ó ṣe ṣe ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ àrèpẹ́ ẹ̀ta ọmọ àrèpẹ́ ẹ̀ta àrèpẹ́ta wọ́n tún gbà rá àyọkà lèmi jẹ́ mo níta rèmi bá pẹ̀ta ẹ dákun ẹ mọ̀ ṣe gbà rá lọ́wọ́ mi o aró tí ń bẹ lọ́sùn ló jẹ́ kó máa hùn mí Ọ̀ṣun tí ń bẹ lọ́sọ̀gbọ̀ ló jẹ́ kó máa hùn mí jọjọ òládé kojú ẹbọra tí ń gbénú omi ṣẹ̀ǹgẹ̀ sí aláyùn àyùn àwẹ̀dẹ̀ kó tó wẹ̀ mọ́ Ọ̀ṣun já gbangba Ọ̀ṣun já gbangba Ọ̀ṣun ògbé kọ̀rọ̀ ọmọ o Ọ̀ṣun ògbé kọ̀rọ̀ ọmọ o ẹ̀yin ọmọ Ìbàdàn ọwọ́ yín dà ẹ jẹ́ ká rọ́wọ́ yín o gbogbo ọmọ Ìbàdàn ọwọ́ yín dà mo ní nìbàdàn o náà bí wá sí o nìbàdàn o náà bí wá sí bàbá ti wá pẹ̀lú wọn ló túlẹ̀ bàbá wa pẹ̀lú lulẹ̀ o nìbàdàn o nìbàdàn o náà bí wàás. Ó yá ẹ bá ń gbọ́ mòkè láǹtí, ẹ bá ń gbọ́ mòkè, ẹ bá ń gbọ́ mòkè. Ọmọ Ìbàdàn dùn ún bí o bá bí lónìí àrìnlọ́lá, ó dùn ún bí o. Nìbàdàn tiwa, owó la fi ń ṣayẹyẹ. Nìbàdàn tiwa, owó la fi ń ṣayẹyẹ. Ẹni tí ó lówó kò lè fẹ́ Bàdàn. Nìbàdàn tiwa, owó la fi ń ṣayẹyẹ. Ẹni tí ó lówó kò lè fẹ́ Bàdàn o. Nìbàdàn tiwa, owó la fi ń. Àjùwéjùwé ẹlẹ́ ò máa lé wa. Àjùwéjùwé ẹlẹ́ ò máa lé wa. Ilé alálẹ̀ wà nìbàdàn o. Àjùwéjùwé ẹlẹ́ ò máa lé. Ilé alálẹ̀ wà nìbàdàn o. Àjùwéjùwé ẹlẹ́ ò máa lé wa. Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé o. Gbogbo ọmọ Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé o. Àyọ̀ká akẹ́wì mo ní sẹ́ńbẹ́ nílé ní àbẹ́rò òde lọ́wọ́ dínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Ìbàdàn, ọmọ Ìbàdàn, ọmọ Ìbàdàn, ọmọ Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ọmọ àjòrósùn. Mo bí iná korí kí inú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan ni. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ ìlú Ògúnmọ́lá, ìlú Ìbíkúnlé, ìlú Òjò, ìlú Àjàyí. Mo bí ní sórí kí inú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan. Ìran bá bẹ yín lọ́mọ owó sọ kẹ̀tẹ̀kẹ̀ ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ bí ìjà. Iná bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ owó ṣòkòtò kẹ̀ǹbẹ̀rẹ̀ bí ìjà. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ o. Ẹlẹ́yẹlé lomi tí gbogbo ọmọ láyé pọ̀ yín mu. Àṣejìrẹ́ lomi àbùmùbù rẹ̀ nínú ìlú Ìbàdàn. Wọ́n ní àkì wáyé kámọ̀ làrùn kan lára. Ìjà gbọ́rọ̀ làrùn ti Ìbàdàn. Ibi tí ogun ti gé bẹ̀rẹ̀ nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ. Ibẹ̀ gángan náà pè ní ìbẹ̀rẹ̀. Ibi tí ogun parí sí. Ibẹ̀ náà pè lógun pa. Ní Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé o. Mo pé ibi tí ogun ti gé bẹ̀rẹ̀ nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan. Ibẹ̀ náà pè ní ìbẹ̀rẹ̀. Ibi tí ogun parí sí. Ibẹ̀ náà pè lógun pa. Ní Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ọmọ àjòrósùn. Ọmọ arólú owó níyìn o. Arólú owó. Ẹ̀ta òbí wọn mọ̀ sàpọ́nlé ẹ̀yìn. Arólú owó. Ọmọ Olúyọ̀lé wọn mọ̀ sàpọ́nlé ẹ̀yìn. Ẹ̀sà òbí ológbòjò. Ológbòjò ló lẹ́yìn ọmọ oníkéré ni. Eégún ló ṣe mẹ́fà ló pọ́lé o. Wọ́n ní kí ní ṣe tóbìnrin ò máa wo. Bàtà ń lódì mẹ́fà nígbà alẹ́. Èmi ní ṣe tóbìnrin ò máa wo. Ẹ̀kú ń lódì méjì mo ló gbogbogbò. Ẹ̀wà ṣe gúngún ṣe lùkámi lára bí àjèrè. Ní Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ọmọ àjòrósùn. Ìran bá bẹ yín lọ́mọ tẹ́ gbòǹgbò ọ̀nà sómi sòròsòrò. Ìbàdàn ní bàjẹ́ o. Ọmọ òkè Ìbàdàn o. Ọmọ òkè Ìbàdàn. Ọmọ òkè Ìbàdàn o. Ọmọ òkè. Àní ẹ wọlé èmi o. Ọmọ òkè Ìbàdàn. Àní ẹ wọlé mi dèmi o. Ǹbàrẹ̀ ilé àrólù o. Ǹbàrẹ̀ ilé àrólù. Ǹbàrẹ̀ ilé àrólù o. Ǹbàrẹ̀ ilé àrólù. Òjò lóró tí ó dá o.
Sórí yín wù àbí òwú? Orí yín wù àbí òwú? Orí tèmi òwú o, kò tí ì kí Ìgbòho orí mi. Ìgbòho. Èwo lẹ fẹ́ kó kì? Ẹ sanwó fún màá send account. Ṣé no extra time ló ń lò, extra time ló ń lò. 2 seconds máa fi kí wọn, wà á dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ kí Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ agbágbàdo dé.
Ìgbòho mọ̀ kí ọ o. Bá mi mọ mọ̀mọ́ ríbàríbà lọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀yin. Adúmọ́ládà rẹ̀ wà lọ́kùnrin abasọ́sẹ̀ dédé ara. Òrírùmọ́rùmọ́. Bá mi o Àyọ̀ká Akéwì mo pé mo rí bá lọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀yin gbogbo ọmọ Èkó ẹ̀yin ọmọ Èkó tó bá ń bẹ nílé ẹ̀mọ́ sáà fìrà ìlọ́wọ́ nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan ni ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ Èkó nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ òkú àrò mi sálẹ̀ ẹgbẹ̀lẹ̀gbẹ̀ mo bí ní korí kí inú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ wọn lẹ́ni bá dẹ́kọ̀ tí ò bá gbọ́n ọgbọ́n olúwa rẹ̀ dọ̀run alákejì àfínjú wọjà wọn àrìngbẹ́ ní ọjà wá pàṣẹ ọ̀sẹ̀ ọmọ onúlá ọmọ olódò mọ̀kẹ́jì ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ gbàmùgbàmù onílẹ̀ omi ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ gbàmùgbàmù onílẹ̀ odò ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ odò tí ò ṣe yájú sí nínú ilé àwọn bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan Èkó oníbàjẹ́ o.
Èkó ò ní bàjẹ́ o. Ẹ jẹ́ lọ secure àwọn ilẹ̀ yín. So let's give her a round of applause once again. She has really given us. I think there was an article I wrote about Baba. Baba Ajobiewe, he just clocked 70. And I was using that article to at least tell us how to understand what Oriki is all about. Oriki is very, very critical. It's more or less like our N9 of today. It's something that reflects where we come from, in fact, some also tell us where we are going. It tells us the kind of character that we imbibe. So this is something that we should always try to appreciate. It's a cultural expression that we should always try to appreciate. And that's why we have her on board. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Ayoka. Really appreciate. So we have the next presentation, and I'm sure show you Titon. Check akpo ẹ lè ṣe transfer sí mi ṣá máa pe so we let's have the Emmanuel Ikolaba Grammar School to have their presentations. You are welcome, Ikolaba Grammar School.
Ó fún wa ládé àṣeré fújòyè ó fún wa níyù ojú òní fọ́ etí òní di ẹ bá fún wa nílùú káàtàdírèké káàtàdírèké káàtàdírèké. Wọlé rẹ́bẹ̀ o bẹ̀bá ní a máa bọ̀ ìjó ń bẹ bẹ̀bá ní a wọlé rẹ́bẹ̀ o bẹ̀bá ní a máa bọ̀ ìjó bẹ. Àṣeré fábà ó fún wa ládé àṣeré fújòyè ó fún wa níyù ojú òní fọ́ etí òní di ẹ bá fún wa nílùú káàtàdírèké. Ìkọlà bá dé o èrò yà wá wò ìkọlà bá dé o èrò yà wá wò ẹni roko tẹsẹ̀ dúró ẹni rodò gbẹ́kẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ o ẹ wá wẹsẹ̀ ìjó wa ìjó ìjó wa ẹ wá gbádùn eré wa eré o eré wa ìkọlà bá dé o èrò yà wá wò ìkọlà bá dé o èrò yà wá wò ẹni roko tẹsẹ̀ dúró ẹni rodò gbẹ́kẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ o ẹ wá wẹsẹ̀ ìjó wa ìjó ìjó wa ẹ wá gbádùn eré wa eré o. Òní lọ́jọ́ pé o tí àwù ṣayẹyẹ tí àwù ṣe bẹ́bẹ́. Òní lọ́jọ́ pé o tí àwù ṣayẹyẹ èdè Yorùbá dàgbàrá ọ̀la o àrà gbogbo la ó fọ̀ ládá. Òní lọ́jọ́ Bẹ́rìjà èrì àpagbò. Bẹ́rìjà Èdè wa lọ́jọ́ òní ó yẹ o. Àtúndé àwa la mú gbòòrò dùn. Àtúndé. Àtúndé àwa la mú gbòòrò dùn. Àtúndé. Àtúndé àwa la mú gbòòrò dùn. Àtúndé. Ẹ má pa àṣà rẹ o. 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 Irun dídì, iṣẹ́ ọwọ́, iṣẹ́ ọnà, ijó jíjó ara àṣà wa ni. Ẹ má pa àṣà rẹ o. 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 Irun dídì, iṣẹ́ ọwọ́, iṣẹ́ ọnà, ijó jíjó ara àṣà wa ni. Ẹ má pa àṣà ìbílẹ̀ wa dà láyé. Àṣà ìbílẹ̀ wa dà. Àṣà ìbílẹ̀ wa dà. Ẹ má pàṣà rẹ o. Àṣà ìbílẹ̀ wa dà. Èmi ò ní pàṣà rẹ o. Àṣà ìbílẹ̀ wa dà. Àṣà ìbílẹ̀ wa dà. Àṣà ìbílẹ̀ wa dà láyé. Ẹ má pàṣà rẹ o. Èmi ò ní pàṣà rẹ o. Àṣà wa ni, èdè wa ni, níbi ká kọrin kó tún gbọ́ àṣà wa. Àṣà wa ni, èdè wa ni, níbi ká wọṣọ kó tún rí àṣà. Níre níre ni ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ wa. Níre níre là ń sọ̀rọ̀ àtàrẹ. Màmá wa kẹ́pẹ́. Màmá wa kẹ́pẹ́. Ẹ ò ní pẹ̀pẹ́ ìyà o. Ẹ ò ní pẹ̀pẹ́ òṣì o. Ẹ̀yin bàbá wa kẹ́pẹ́. Bàbá wa kẹ́pẹ́. Ẹ ò ní pẹ̀pẹ́ ìyà o. Ẹ ò ní pẹ̀pẹ́ òṣì o. Kò ní já ṣe mọ́. Kò ní já ṣe mọ́. Ọdún ọdún yìí o. Ọdún ọdún yìí o. Kò ní já ṣe.
Kò ní já ṣe mọ́ wa, kò ní já ṣe mọ́ yín náà. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Ẹ ṣé, ẹ wá kó, àbí kí n kó ni, ẹ má rẹ̀ máa kó fún yín later. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. So thanks so much, Calabar Grammar School, and we so much appreciate you, the teacher, for organizing this. It was a very brief, what was it called? We gave them just some days, and they came to present this wonderful presentation. You can see that their teacher is really trying, and the ministry are here, seeing what the teachers in some of our schools are doing to appreciate our culture. Let's give them a round of applause once again. So right about now, we are going into the question and answer mode. So I'm sure you have your questions written down, and if you have any contribution or suggestions, like I said, just 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So we have someone at the stand to give you the mic. You can also help to pass the mics across to whoever is ready to ask these are questions. Professor. Prof, would you like to come to the studio, or to the podium, or I should bring the... So if you have a question, please signify by raising up your hand. We have one here. Among the students, don't you have questions? ẹ ti gbọ́ bàbá àdúgbò, ẹlòmíì ò gbọ́ bàbá àdúgbò rí. Ó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ béèrè pé kí ni bàbá àdúgbò? Àti bóyá bọ̀dá àdúgbò lẹ̀dẹ̀ mọ́ ń sìn. Bọ̀dá àdúgbò lẹ mọ̀. Okay, Professor. You can go ahead, ma.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my name is Taiwo Olanrewaju. I write for Alaroye newspapers. I just want to make a few comments and then ask some questions. And my question will be directed to the Dawn Commission itself. Okay, like the Southwest Anthem. I think it is only when I go for Dawn Commission assignment. This is my second time of attending this assignment. The first one was the Cocoa House edition. So that is when I heard the Southwest Anthem. So I just want to suggest that all the Southwestern states, if you collaborate with the Ministry of Education, then, they should allow the students, they should teach the students this anthem so that they'll be singing it in the schools. On Fridays in schools, because I've taught before, so I know they sing the Oyo State anthem because this is Oyo State. I believe in other states too, they'll be singing their state anthems. So we should also be singing the Southwest anthem. So write it out, go to the Ministry of Education, let them pass it to the schools, and then I'm very sure they'll be singing it. Then I want to talk about the Baba Adubo issue. That was in the olden, in our days, yes. When I was younger, if you did something bad, someone can beat you from outside. Your parents would follow you there to go and kneel down or prostrate to those people, to go and thank them, because they know they are helping to mold your future. But then such things cannot happen now. It is the fault of parents. Like when Seyi Makinde newly got in, when he was sworn in during his first term, there was a naval officer whose son or daughter was beaten in school by a teacher. He recruited, brought in some of his guys from his office, and they really beat that teacher. They almost beat life out of him. So it is parents. In some of the schools we have taught, the principal will say, when these children, when they offend you, please come and report them to me. Because if you beat them, I won't hesitate to hand you over to their parents when they bring policemen, to come and arrest you. So it has become that if you talk to the students too much, if you, chide them too much, they'll give you a nickname. In the last school where I taught, because I teach Yoruba, because they don't want you to correct them. So that is what is happening nowadays. You can't. So parents, the fault is actually from parents. I know some teachers can overdo, beating. Children have different types of, different sizes of cane. Like my pastor was talking about his grandchildren, his granddaughters the other day. He said, because they are still under 2 years old. So the type of cane he uses for them is a stick of broom. We want to correct them. It is not as if we want to beat them. We don't want to injure them. We don't want to kill them. We are not trying to maim them. So we're just trying to correct them. So teachers should know how to do it. But then, I don't know, people from the Ministry of Education are here. I don't know whether in public schools, whether cane is allowed, whether they allow the students to be caned. I don't, because, okay. Then, to the Dawn Commission, because I don't know whether representatives of the Southwestern states, whether any of their representatives, are here. Whenever because you discuss very salient issues, very, very important issues. So it is not enough to just let them read it on the pages of newspapers. Go and invite them. Let Governor Seyi Makinde ask someone to come. let the governor of all the Southwestern governors, let them send representatives here so that when they get home, they'll go and report to them, what we have discussed here. And then, yeah, still to the Dawn Commission, I don't know what you do with all the your lectures. Like he has offered, the lecturer of today has offered salient solutions, very, very important solutions to the problem. What do you do with all those suggestions that you are given? What do you do with them? So I want to know. You should do something useful with them. I think trying to solve the societal problem should start with the Dawn Commission. And you already have someone here. I'm very sure if you call on this prof, he will be ready to offer himself, to assist you to do whatever you want to do. So let the solution start from here. Thank you.
All right, just I'm not the DG, I'm just I'm the DG's friend, okay? All right, so I mean, for the anthem, the governors, I think at their last meeting, actually adopted that anthem as the regional anthem, okay? So, a number of official whatever will still follow, we believe, okay? But as you rightly advised us, we'll also try to mainstream it in our schools, because we noticed that even the students here just couldn't sing along. So we'll try to mainstream that. Then about the lectures, what we are doing to them, we study them, we interrogate them, we try to find what we can implement. And you are going to see one of those implementations right here today, right now, okay? So it's not like we just keep them on the shelf, okay? We find a way to look for practical applications for those recommendations, okay? But we can't do it alone, okay? We need the help of everybody here. Our doors are open. If you have suggestions, if you want to work with us, our doors are open. You could just walk in and then we can have a discussion. And I assure you, DG will provide Amala to make the discussion very good.
Well, thank you very much. Let me just quickly react to the issue of Baba Dubos. Well, the concept, both the concept and the practice of Baba Dubos have become very anachronistic. Nobody will do it again. Nobody. Then, of course, the Baba Dubos of the past had what they were doing when they come back from work or from the farm. But nowadays, everybody is looking for something to do. So the children themselves would accuse him to say, you don't have anything to do. You are only doing Baba Dubo all over the place. So it becomes a negative label. But we are hoping that something will replace it. In the Western world, it is what do you call it? Those spy cameras, CCTV. It is the CCTV. So if we don't have it here, we still need something that should monitor society on behalf of society and on behalf of parents. That is the only way that we can continue to ensure the vitality of our tradition, the vitality of our society, and the stability of society in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. You delivered a lecture, not to us as a prof, but in a language that every one of us will actually understand. Thank you. But before my question, I observed this when I came in. I look at the organizer, the Yoruba historical conversation. So, and when the first person came up to speak to us, I discovered that the clothes they put on, not as you are here standing, was not actually depicting who we are as a Yoruba. So noted that. Then again, sir, when you were speaking, you when you started, you talked about the balancing the traditional and the modernity. And I look at that I, as a teacher, I discovered that we have an issue presently. And the issue bounds on how do we incorporate that, where you balance the Gen Z with the old generation idea. And I discovered that it bounds on policy majorly. You also said something like that, but I want to say this. Like I'm holding mic now, there's limit to what I can see. Just as when you started, you made mention of talking as an historian, but you will not delve into the political aspect. But then, those of you who are probably in the academia and those who have moved closer to the policy maker and decision makers, you can also see to it that what can we do to ensure that we can bring this idea, not just to teach history. In fact, when you teach history now, in secondary school, it's not like the way when you were learning it. The student of nowadays, like one of my Oga will say, that nowadays we are teaching unwilling learners. Generation, we are fifth generation, where we rely on AI. Nobody wants to struggle to write things. I want to tap my phone and get the knowledge. Meanwhile, you mentioned it that hard work pays. Most time when you sweat before you identify or solve a problem, you have made a solution along the line. So please, we need more of policy initiation to help us, especially in the school system. Take, for example, sir, a daughter of mine came from school. He said, a teacher in their school, he said, I wanted to leave that school. I said, what happened? He said, that auntie will just look at her and say, all of you are fools. You these fools. Just 7 years old girl. And I walked out to that. Said, man, this girl, she told me that you always say fool, fool, fool. I didn't want to disrespect the teacher because I know that the management may sack him. Of course, yes. But then most time in public school, we can't do some of these things. Like one auntie said, do we use cane in secondary school? Of course, yes. I can't allow a teacher to beat up my child and the child will come with bruises. But most time, we can use that too. But my own question and a form of a suggestion is that we need more of policy. And you are in the best position to help us. Then you can also try to eliminate on that. How do we balance that aspect? Traditional with modernity without having a concrete policy at stake. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much for your very important questions and comments. But before I answer that, let me go back to the Alaroye auntie. No, she works for Alaroye. It's not that she's an Alaroye. Well, you mentioned the fact that a gentleman said he beats the daughter with one small cane, which is the broom. In Yoruba cosmology, that is not acceptable, especially for male children. You don't beat them with the broom. It has a reason. And these are indigenous knowledge things that we have lost. You don't beat people with broom. But yes, there is no reason why you cannot smack a baby's bum bum. Or in those days when they used to do what they call tani tete, see this tan tete. Those things I'm sure are still acceptable, because if you don't describe it as child abuse, it's still acceptable. What we may no longer accept is the heavy knock on the head. You know, because I told you the children of nowadays, have you ever eaten chocolate eclairs? They are as strong as chocolate eclairs. That's the way they are. But yes, imagine tradition and modernity. That's what we all do now. You will not be achieving any results if you adopt only the modern. Because when you teach, it must be contextual. You are teaching Nigerian children. You are teaching Yoruba children. A is not for apple. A is for agbalumo. You know, we don't plant apple. So apple is, you know, alien to what we do. Yes, if you teach them in English, yes. You may say this is what they plant in the Western world, but when you want to tell them about fruits or oranges, please use our indigenous variants. And that's why I said, yeah, it is no longer profitable when you teach them with the modern alone, and then, of course, you ignore the indigenous, or you use only the indigenous and you ignore the modern. It's you who should balance. And the way you balance it is when you test their understanding of what they knew and what they should know. And that is why the role of the teacher is still important beyond what the AI gives them. The teacher is very important. So the teacher is expected to know the indigenous, is expected to know the modern. You know, you understand now that there is no way that you can neglect it unless you want to teach them about Ifa. If you want to teach Ifa, you can't use English. It has to be that indigenous thing. So it depends on what you are working on at any point in time. So yes, I know how difficult it is to train the children nowadays. It's not only at that level that the students don't want to listen, even at our level. And it is quite discouraging. I mentioned it. If you look at their faces and you are discouraged. You know, so we'll continue to encourage you. But on the policy level, when I was a young lecturer, we used to get invitations from policy people, from government to say, please, let us talk about this. But nowadays, the people in government and the policymakers are self-sufficient. They don't think they need anybody. And so I'll still go back to the Yoruba saying, if they don't call you, you want to go and ganosi. You think they think you want to eat because everything for them is about eating. But when we point these things out to say this thing should go this way, this thing is not going to work, they see you as an antagonist. It was not like that in the past. So right now, we have the academic environment and the policy environment working at cross purposes. We don't meet. And it is a minus for society. You know, in fact, they look down on us as poor people battling real poverty and battling poverty of ideas. So because the average lecturer cannot go for vacation, see some other things, but they and their children, they go. They are the ones who see it. They are the ones who watch CNN, you know? So as far as they are concerned, they are more enlightened than those of us in the academia. And that is why they are treating us the way they are treating us. Because for the life of me, I don't see how any government can say education pack aside. There was the Channels interview held with the Minister of Education a couple of days ago. And the minister was saying, we have answered everything ASU is asking for. Okay. And the lady asked, what have you offered? The minister didn't answer that eventually. What have you offered them? Let us know. The second thing that the lady said, which impressed me, was that you are saying all the things they are asking for will be mainstreamed in next year's budget. How many ones have we seen that they mainstream and we didn't hear about it any longer? The lady told him that don't mainstream it in next year's budget. Raise a supplementary budget this year for them the way you raised the supplementary budget for the people of the National Assembly last year to buy vehicles for them. I think that was very intelligent. No, so we must begin to question these people to say, no, you think you are smart, you are not. You are not. And so what we are all doing now is just looking on to say, okay, they know how to do it. They want to do it alone. Let them go ahead. And all of us will suffer the consequences. We have not started suffering. We will, because no knowledge is being utilized in the governance of the state. And that's very tragic. And I don't mean at the state level, even at the federal level. There is no conversation going on between us and government.
But Prof, when you say, let them go ahead, we've not started stopping. Is that not part of the bystander effect that you're talking about?
It is, absolutely, it is, but what can we do? What can we do? Because we still have to go back to the traditional perspective of mapping Lomindasi. So these are some of the issues that we need to correct, but we will continue to be bystanders for as long as those in government think knowledge and power belong to them.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
One more question, please.
All right.
One.
The
All right,
one, I want to jettison the laid down protocolarian arrangement on ground. Ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n wa, èmi ò fi Yorùbá bá yín sọ̀rọ̀. Má fi lọ́ mi dá sí tẹ́ ẹ mẹ́nu léyìí. Wọ́n ní ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ, ọ̀rọ̀ mi, tó bá padà dé, ó bá ń bẹ̀ o. Gbogbo wa la jèrè iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ wa. Olè ò ní gbé abẹ́rù wa níbodè. Ṣé ẹ rí nǹkan tẹ́mi fẹ́ bi yín? Ọjọ́ kan mo ń lọ l'Ékòó, èmi àtẹ̀gbọ́n mi kan. Àwa ara wọn, kí ni wọ́n ń pè wọ́n níbẹ̀? LASTMA. Wọ́n wá wà ní kọ́nà kan, wọ́n ń fúnra wọn ní àbẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. Ìgbà tí wọ́n á béèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n, ṣe bí wọ́n ń fáwọn pípì ní nǹkan tó yìnbó ń pè ní orientation àti reorientation. Kí ló dé tí wọ́n ń ṣe ìwà burúkú yìí? Wọ́n ní, o ò lè máa mu sìgá, kọ́mọ ẹ máa mu gbóko wá sọ̀rọ̀. Bá a ṣe ń yàn àwọn olórí wa, ọgbọ́n wo la dà sí bí wọ́n ṣe ń jáde wá? Tọ́rọ àárín wa náà ti ń jáde o. Tẹ́ ẹ bá ń bú olórí, àwa tá à ń tẹ̀lé wọn ń kọ́. Dawn commission, Ọlọ́run ti bá wa ṣe tọ́lọ́run, because láti ilẹ̀ Ìgbò, ilẹ̀ Haúsá náà wá ń wo nǹkan tó ń ṣe ní Dawn commission. Lo Dawn commission tó. Ṣé nígbà tá gbogbo wa mọ ibi tí wàhálà ti wà, tí àìbọ̀wọ̀ fófin ti wá, gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń ṣe yìí, ṣé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ kọ̀fẹ́sọ̀, ṣé ẹ dé bá Dawn commission sọ̀rọ̀ bí wọ́n ó ṣe ní bíi template, ibi tá a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wá àtúnṣe sí nǹkan tó ń bá wa jà, ní pàtàkì jùlọ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá wa yìí, àwa la ṣíwájú, àwa ni wọ́n ń wò kọ́ ṣe. Ọgbọ́n wo la dà? Ibo la ti ṣe àyíká àbá ní template tá a fẹ́ fi bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí solve problems wa? A kàn máa fẹnu jà ní. A dẹ̀ ní láti solve ẹ̀ torí àwọn ọmọ tó ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn wọ́n ó fi èpè ránṣẹ́ sí wa. Ẹ má jà máa sọ̀sọ̀kúsọ. Wọ́n ti ń ṣépè already. Ọgbọ́n wo la dà? Ẹni knowledge, wọn lo knowledge, wọn lo. Ṣé ibi tí nǹkan bá tiẹ̀ wà tá a fẹ́ present fún wọn pé ó yá bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe yẹ ká ṣe nìyí. Gbogbo wa la mọ ibi tí nǹkan tó yẹ ká ṣe o. Nobody wants to bail the cat. Ọlọ́run á ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Ẹ ṣeun, mo dúpẹ́.
Well, ẹ ṣe àdúpẹ́ púpọ̀. Èmi náà fi Yorùbá dá yín lóhùn. Nítorí pé ṣe rí, èmi ni ògbójúlú ọdẹ nínú igbó orúnmọlẹ̀ ní o. Èmi ni ìrèké oníbùdó ní o. Èmi ni ẹrí gbogbo ẹ̀ ní gbogbo ẹ̀ lákà ní aláwìyé gbogbo ẹ̀ lákà ń gbà yẹn. Tó Yorùbá yà wá, à ń pòwe, àkànpọ̀ fọ̀ ni. Well, in tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ni pé ṣe rí pé àdásí. Gbogbo wa náà ló ń dùn. Gbogbo wa ló ń dùn. Ní ìgbà tí mo ti sọ pé nígbà tí mi sì jẹ́ olùkọ́ kékeré, wọ́n máa ń pè wá sóríṣiríṣi nǹkan. Ṣùgbọ́n àsìkò kan dé, gbogbo ẹ̀ yí dande. Ó yí dande nítorí pé àwọn tá a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kó sí ìjọba wọ́n yàtọ̀ sí àwọn tán súnmọ́ ìgbà àwọn Awólọ́wọ̀. Bàbá yẹn fúnra ẹ̀ orí ẹ̀ pé bí alájọṣọmọlú. So ó ti mú àwọn tó máa ṣà pé ìwọ bá mi ṣe báyìí, ìwọ bá mi ṣe báyìí, ìwọ bá mi ṣe báyìí. So àwọn tí wọ́n wà ń bẹ̀ nígbà táwa ń dàgbà, wọ́n sì ní àwòkọ́ṣe yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n báwọn sójà ṣe ń dé sí, tí wọ́n ní kíní kankan fẹ́ ní kankan, ibi tó bá ti jí, apá bẹ́ẹ̀dì tó bá ti gbàjí ńjọ́ kan, náà ni gbogbo àṣẹ tó máa pa ńjọ́ yẹn. Ó tún lè dọ̀là kó tún cancel ẹ̀. Ibẹ̀ yẹn gbogbo ẹ̀ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí bàjẹ́. So gbogbo ọgbọ́n ni o, gbogbo òye ni o, gbogbo àpérò ni o, àárín ara wọn náà ti ń ṣe. Ìgbà táwọn tó wá ń dé lẹ́yìn wọn náà ń dé, àwọn náà ò bá àwòkọ́ṣe yẹn lẹ̀ mọ́. So tẹ́ bá wo university system nísìn, orí àwọn kan sóò pé tó jẹ́ pé èmi gan tí mo jẹ́ professor ìlú máa ń bà mí ni pé ǹjẹ́ olè mi fẹ́ pé tó báyìí. Mọ́ ẹ̀ ní pè wọ́n, ẹ̀ ní bá wọn jíròrò, ẹ̀ ní sọ̀rọ̀ sí wọn nítorí pé wọ́n ti wà ní apá kejì. Socialist lélẹ́yìí, ìsọkúsọ ló máa sọ. Gbogbo ẹ̀ náà dẹ̀ ti affect ní táwa gan ṣe nínú university. Nítorí nígbà tá a ń grow up within the system, bí capitalist bá sọ̀rọ̀, liberal á sọ̀rọ̀, socialist á sọ̀rọ̀. So àárí gbogbo kíní yẹn orí á pé for everybody. Ìgbà ní ìsìn ibì kan náà ni gbogbo wa sùn tá a dorí kọ. Kò tiẹ̀ wá jẹ́ kí àti lọ sẹ́mínà gan pàápàá tiẹ̀ dùn mọ́. So gbogbo nǹkan ló ti bàjẹ́. A ní àti jókòó tún ṣe náà ni. Well, tó bá yẹ pé a fẹ́ wo problem ẹ pé a fẹ́ ti ibi pẹlẹbẹ mọ́ ọ̀lẹ̀jẹ̀. Don commission ti wà ń bẹ̀. No, Don commission ni o, wọ́n ní gbogbo proposal yẹn lọ́wọ́ o. Because kan tó gbé wọn jáde, àwọn ṣiṣẹ́. Wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́. Èmi mọ̀ pé problem tán ní nísìn níṣẹ́ rí dọ́kúmẹ́ǹtì tó wà lọ́wọ́ wọn yẹn. Ó wá kú bí wọ́n ṣe fẹ́ sọ di n tí àwa mẹ̀kúnnù lè kà. Ìyẹn ló kù. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń kọ́ history pàápàá. Problem tí wọ́n máa ní pẹ̀lú history ni pé ṣe rí àwọn ìwé history tó ń lò ní classroom, wọ́n láti tún kọ. Wọ́n á tún kọ dé level tó jẹ́ pé gbogbo èèyàn ayé gbogbo èèyàn n tá ń sọ ayé gbogbo èèyàn, gbogbo nǹkan ló ti yàtọ̀. Èmi máa ń fi example Mansa Musa ṣe example. Nígbà táwa wà ní school, ní secondary school, wọ́n máa ń fi Mansa Musa kọ́ wa ni pé Mali lówó, ó lówó bí ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀. Ó lọ Mẹ́kà, ó kó adúrú báyìí dání, ó kó gold báyìí dání, ó kó slave báyìí dání. So orí wa máa ń wú ni pé Africa lówó bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn látijọ́. Àwa nìyẹn jọ lójú. Tẹ́ bá fẹ́ kọ́ àwọn ọmọ ọ̀sìn, tẹ́ máa sọ fún wọn pẹ̀lú orú Mansa Musa yẹn apani. Ẹni tí ò bá ti kọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àpà, ẹ lè connect dáadáa pé because question tó máa bèèrè lọ́wọ́ wọ gas teacher pé òun kọ́ wa inú ẹ̀ ń dùn. Èèyàn kọ́ wa dúró owó bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn jáde ní empire ẹ̀. Ó lọ ná on the way to Mecca. Ó dé Egypt, ó bà economy Egypt jẹ́ because owó tó pump sínú economy Egypt ti pọ̀ jù. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ apani. So gbogbo orú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, history kì í ṣe nípa pé ká kàn máa sọ ìtàn lásán. Analysis ní history àti interpretation. Tí analysis ẹ ò bá jiná, tí interpretation ẹ ò bá jiná, then tó ń ṣe pẹ̀lú history kò lè jà náà. So a lot of things I need that it will again ká change. Ibẹ̀ ni àti máa bẹ̀rẹ̀. So Don commission wọ́n ti ní gbogbo document yẹn lọ. Wọ́n ní ó wá kù bá a ṣe máa translate ẹ̀ sí Yorùbá, bá a ṣe ètò jẹ́ English mbẹ́, bá a ṣe máa bring ẹ̀ sí level tó jẹ́ pé gbogbo wa máa ní lọ́wọ́. And of course, I don't want you to refer me to the internet. Pé gbogbo ẹ̀ ló wà lórí internet. Ìyẹn kan visual tí mo máa mú dání tí máa jókòó kánú mọ́tò tí tẹ́lẹ̀ tó wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ mi máa ní kíni yẹn tí màá tún fún irú yẹn ni. So Don commission.
Prof.
Ẹni iṣẹ́ láti ṣe.
Prof, kẹ́ ẹ tó kúrò ń bẹ̀ yẹn, mo ní ìbéèrè kékeré kan.
Okay.
Torí atótónu wa yìí ti ń lọ fáwa kan tá a súnmọ́ Don, ó ti ń tọ́dún mélòó kan. Ẹ dẹ̀ ń rí fáàsì pé gbogbo àwọn ìwé táwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n ti kọ bíi tiyín àti lóríṣiríṣi ó ti pọ̀ ńlẹ̀. mo wá ń rò bẹ́ ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ nígbà tẹ́ ń deliver lecture yín lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn ń pé tá bá tẹ̀dẹ̀ wá sọ pé ká pa gbogbo nǹkan tì à ń sọ̀rọ̀ economy ni à ń sọ̀rọ̀ technology ni à ń sọ̀rọ̀ rail system gbogbo nǹkan yẹn ká kọ̀ tẹ̀ pátì ká wá sọ pé láti òní lọ o a fẹ́ mójútó ètò ẹ̀kọ́ wa nìkan nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ká mú láti educational system wa nìkan ẹ rí pé inú mi dùn bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe dárúkọ JF Ọdúnjọ ká padà sáwọn òwe yẹn àwọn ìyá wọn àwọn ẹbí wọn sì wà láyé ta lè lọ gba rights ká republish àwọn òwe yẹn tó bá máa wá jẹ́ pé kí Dawn kan create hub kan láti groom àti retrain Yorùbá teachers alone ká wá deploy wọn sáwọn schools kan lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ yìí torí nínú ẹ̀kọ́ Yorùbá làwa ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ìwúrí pọ́mọ Yorùbá ni wá láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ìfẹ́ ibi tí wọ́n bí wa sí àti irú èèyàn tá a jẹ́ gbogbo yẹn ò yé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ yìí mọ́ nísìnyí. mo fẹ́ mú ìbéèrè yẹn wá ni o pé ṣé ó ṣeé ṣe ká padà sí ètò ẹ̀kọ́ wa nìkan ká mójútó.
yà ó ṣeé ṣe ṣe rí ntí Dawn tó lè gbé ṣe wọn ti ṣe 1% ẹ̀ àṣẹ bí eré bá ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn náà nìyẹn tí a mọ̀ pé ó máa kárí gbogbo Southwest wọ́n dẹ̀ wà effective ìbá wà effective jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ pàápàá ká ní wọ́n fi Dawn lẹ̀ láti manage ẹ̀ in all the states ṣùgbọ́n oníkálukú state ẹ̀ ń rọ́nù nǹkan ẹ̀ gbogbo ìlànà tá a fi lẹ́ngbà tá a dá a lẹ̀ wọn ò tẹ̀lé ẹ ṣáà rí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ làkínlàlú lẹ́nu ọjọ́ mẹ́ta yẹn kì í ṣe irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn náà gbọ́dọ̀ kà mọ́ ọwọ́ Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn because àwọn èèyàn ti wá ní tó bá yẹ pé àwọn ọlọ́pàá kan tó kó wá láti ibì kan ní ìsìn bí àwọn kill and go ló ṣe yẹn àgbọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n àwọn èèyàn ti wá kò yẹ kán káwọn ọmọdé ẹ̀ so irú education tẹ́ sọ yẹn wọ́n lè ṣe gbogbo structure yẹn wà nílẹ̀ wọ́n lè ṣe a máa sọ̀rọ̀ náà ni pé n tó kàn rèé as a matter of fact ṣẹ́rí education tẹ́ sọ yẹn òun gan ní gbogbo nǹkan yòókù gbọ́dọ̀ fara sọ because nígbà tá a wà ní primary school tá a wà secondary a ní agric farm náà àwọn ọmọ yìí ò ń lọ agric farm àbí abẹ́ ń lọ agric farm ká má rí ní Paul Apostoli ìwé wọ́n ní irú ẹ̀ ò dáa àmọ́ bá ṣe ń gbin iṣu dè ní eléyìí màá bọ́lẹ̀ níwájú lémi mo ń roko nìyẹn mo ń gbin nǹkan lẹ́yìn ìkùlé mi wọn ò mọ bó ṣe ń gbin tòmátò ìgbà tá ń dàgbà àwa la ń gbin tòmátò tá ń jẹ gbogbo ata tá ń jẹ ó ti ẹ̀dùn mí nísìn ata ìjọsìn tíntìntì yẹn mo ti try àti gbìn kò ṣe dáadáa mọ́ èmi ò rí náà ni mo ń sọ mi ì rí mọ́ ni bọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn ẹyẹ gan á ti jẹ wọn á ti ṣú káàkiri á ti hù káàkiri fúnra ẹ̀ gbogbo nǹkan ló ti bàjẹ́ ní ìsìn tẹ́ bá gbin kí náà ti ń pè pọ́pọ̀ ní ìsìn tẹ́ ẹ mú kó ronú ẹ̀ kò ní hù because GM ni ẹ wo nǹkan ti bàjẹ́ mọ́ wa lára.
ẹ ṣé gan thanks so much ẹ bá ṣá prof látẹ̀wọ́ ìfọ̀rọ̀wérọ̀ la pè so a dẹ̀ ti rí pé ká má lè mú kò sí bá ṣe fẹ́ mú ọjọ́ solókùn àwọn ọmọ wa yìí wọ́n dẹ̀ ń lọ sí wọ́n padà síléèwé wọn àdìtàbádẹ́ wò aago méjì ti fẹ́ pé so gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń sọ wọ́n ṣe sọ pé Dawn ní pé lára solution tá à ń sọ ara ẹ̀ náà láti mú wáyé tẹ́ bá rí iwájú aṣọ tí mo wọ̀ àwọn kan tiẹ̀ ń sọ pé àkílódé àwọ̀ aṣọ ìbílẹ̀ wa ni nǹkan tá a mú wá akọ̀kan fi kẹ́fi lè mọ̀ pé a ti mú solution wá òun ni Mr. Ṣẹ́gun náà máa bá a sọ ní láìpẹ́ yìí ẹ Ẹ ṣé gan.
Ó láti mú solution wá. Bí politician ṣe máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ nìyẹn o. Okay. Today is a good day. It's a great day for us. It's as if we planned this whole thing with a prop. Everything is said, just think with what we want to talk about. Okay, so this is Yoruba. It's a social mobilization program targeted at young people. So this program is coming to your school very soon. But today, the one we want to talk about is the Omoluabi movement. Can we have it? Okay. So I would like to have Digi, sir. Okay. So what we want to do is more or less is baby. He just called me to office one day and said, we have to do something to targeted at the young people on social media, something that can redirect them to the Omoluabi culture, to the Omoluabi value. So I'm happy that today, I mean, every time you will say, Shegun, when are we going to do this? When are we going to do that? So I'm happy that I'm able to deliver the project today. So I'll give him, a few minutes to talk about.
Thank you, Shegun. Yes, I Yoruba, and I'm actually excited that we are launching it today, the first phase of it. I won't speak much. The idea is straightforward, it's simple. Yorubas are known to be Omoluabis, and over time, we've been told under the present generation that, oh, Omoluabi ep. Nobody wants to associate with what we call Omoluabi values again. Even in some instances, they will think, oh, you are not savvy enough, or you are not smart enough. And as Professor Additional said, we've gotten to a stage where right has become wrong, and wrong has then become right. So crookedness was becoming the order of the day. And we told ourselves that we can't just sit down and throw up our arms in the air and say, there's nothing we can do. And again, as Prof said, there's a lot that can be done. We only need to start and make a start. And you see, again, we've made this mistake over time that we look up to governments alone to do everything. Oh, the government has not done, the government has not done, forgetting that even those in government came out of us Nigerians. So anytime we blame our leaders, I say we did not import them from China or Taiwan. They came out of Nigeria within ourselves. So we came up with this idea that, look, how do we capture this different generation? How do we entice them? How do we make them understand that it is cool to be an Omoluabi? It is cool, to be honest. It is cool to be a good citizen. Don't tell me that, oh, the examples you are seeing are not good. If you start from your own little corner, you can make a difference. I use the example of waste a lot. If you leave your house in the morning and you buy a bottle of Coke, you finish drinking, you wind down your car or from the bus and you throw it out. That does not portray you as an Omoluabi. I once accosted a lady who finished a bag of groundnuts and then threw the thing out. And I told her that, Madam, talefe ko gba. And she said, that was what she said. She didn't see anything wrong in doing that. But you see, over time, it's because we have failed in our duty to sensitize ourselves. We have failed in doing that. When I was young, growing up in this city, I remembered very well. And it's unfortunate now that our radio stations don't do that again. Our radio stations now are focused only on Latino Weruing and also focused on church and mosque programs. We no longer educate. When we were growing up, radio educated us. So they will tell you, driver Masari Nojo, as an example. Or madam, thank you, secure your house before you sleep. Or madam, don't party too much, look after your children. Things like that. And it stayed with us over time. And it shaped us. So we told ourselves that, look, there are things we can start there now. And we're going to use modern technology, the technology that reverberates with the young ones, that they can easily connect with, to start to reignite that Omoluabi values in them. Again, as I said, the idea is simple. It's not rocket science. Who is an Omoluabi today? What action can you carry out? And we say, oh, Omoluabi niye. You know, as I said again, it is cool to become an Omoluabi. You can get to the highest heights if you choose to be an Omoluabi. Don't cut corners. Those are some of the things that Yoruba will be telling us over time. As I said, what we are launching today is just the first phase. It is a wide, very wide program that will cover so many facets of our lives. But primarily, we are targeting it at the young generation. I'm careful not to put age bracket there, but the young generation. And even if you are 60 and you are young at heart, it's targeted at you as well. But in the more serious note, I know that by the time Mr. Balogun tells you a few things about the nitty-gritty of what we are hoping to do, you find it exciting, and you then become ambassadors and disciples of Yoruba. Once again, I thank you for listening to my boring chats.
Thank you, DG. So we are getting ready to leave this hall. So how many of you like this shirt? Okay. I have 5 to give out. Okay. And I'll give it to 5 Omaluabis. All right. So if you can prove to me that you are worthy of this shirt, okay, I'll give it to you. Right. So one question. You only need to tell me what you learned today. What is the most important thing, that you learn from what our guest speaker told us? Yes, anyone? I can see some hands up. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes, let's start from her.
I learned that as historians, we are also the teachers of the society.
As historians, we are also the teachers of the society. Okay, so let's put that one side. We'll rate all the comments that we get. The comment that stand out the most will win the shirt. Yeah.
Our historian, the prof, talk at length about hard work and moral decadence. You can see what is happening now. In the past, there's nothing like Yahoo. People are very diligent and no indulgence. If you do something wrong and you correct that person, nowadays, if you do that, the parent will report you at Ministry of Education. So a lot of things happen. So we need to change our attitude, our orientation.
Okay, we need to change our attitude and orientation. Okay, I'm sampling for comments, lessons.
Thank you. I learned that there has been an adulteration of the Yoruba culture with Western influences that has caused the kind of watering down of our culture and is affecting this current generation.
Okay. Okay. The adulteration of our culture, westernization of our culture, and it's affecting us. Okay. Yes.
Ekaso, Ẹ̀kọ́ kan tí mo kọ́ lónìí ni wípé
Oh, yeah, come and take one shirt.
ká gbé àṣà wa lárugẹ. Ká má gbàgbé ibi tá a ti wá. Àti wípé ká má gbàgbé àwọn àṣà wa ní ayé àtijọ́ nítorí ohun tó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ láyé ìsìn. Torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa ti gbàgbé ibi tá a ti wá. Èyìnbó yìí ó ti jẹ́ kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa gbàgbé wípé Yorùbá ni wá. Àwọn míì gan wọn ò ní ọkàn láti sọ wípé Yorùbá ni mí. Tá a bá ti rí àwọn tó ń fèbò, wọ́n á bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní fèbò. Ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí and I am proud of myself. Ọmọ Ìbàdàn ni mí pẹ̀lú. Ẹ̀kọ́ tí èmi náà rí kọ́ lónìí ni wípé ní ayé àtijọ́ káwò sí ayé ìsinyìí bí àwọn àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wa tó ṣe mú wa ní ìsinyìí. Ìgbà míì tèmi bá tẹ̀ ń jáde tí n bá rẹ́ lómi tó wọṣọ péńpé tó bá fèbò sí mi àyà mi á máa fẹ́ jágan nígbà míì. Mọ́ mi máa sọ fún mi wípé grandma wọn máa ń pìtàn fún wọn pé láyé ìgbà yẹn kò sí nǹkan bí eléyìí. Ìwọ̀kuwọ̀ láyé òde òní kò dàbí ti ayé ìgbà yẹn. Ní ayé sí nísìnyìí nínú gbogbo àwọn táwọn bíbá yìí èèyàn mélòó ló wọ ìró àti bùbá wá síbí kò sí. Gbogbo àwọn ọkùnrin wa gan abẹ́ tí ajá kò sẹ́ni tì lórí wọn. Ojú wa kan wá síbí láyé kan wá múra wá ìgbà táwọn èèyàn gan fẹ́ ìbò kàyà ní ìjà ni.
Okay, off the mic.
Nǹkan tẹ́ kọ́ kí lẹ kọ́? Sọ ní Yorùbá.
Nǹkan tí mo kọ́ nípa àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn bàbá àdúgbò tí Mr. Adesina tó kọ́ wa lénìí. Prof. Adesina, má bínú. Nǹkan tó kọ́ wa tán ni pé tí àwọn bàbá àdúgbò tó bá ti nà wá àbí tó bá ti bá wa wí, wọ́n máa sọ fáwọn òbí wa, àwọn òbí wa máa lọ dọ̀bálẹ̀ fún wọn. Àti wọ́n dẹ̀ máa lọ sọ pé àìṣe tẹnu ọmọ mi o. Ṣùgbọ́n láyé ìsìn tó bá ti nà wá tó bá ti bá wa wí, àwọn òbí wa náà ló ti máa bá wọn jà. Kí tẹ ṣe ná ọmọ mi? So ìdí tí mo kọ́ pé fọ́ọ̀tì yẹn àti ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn òbí wa ló ti wá. Wọ́n ní ààyè láti kọ́ wa dáadáa àti láti jẹ́ kí a mọ̀ pé nǹkan tá a ṣe ìgẹ́lẹ́gẹ́ kò ń ṣe nǹkan tó dáa. So àwọn gangan ló jẹ́ kí àwọn bàbá àdúgbò yẹn kọ́ máa gbẹ́nu dákẹ́ gbogbo nǹkan tá a bá ti ṣe má fi lọ mi dá sí kí n tèmi ń bẹ̀.
O ti kọ́ bàbá àdúgbò lẹ́nu.
Okay, I think we can cut it off. Right? Don't worry, we still have this project is not going back with us to office. Don't worry, we'll give it out, right? But we are not doing this just for shirt alone. How many of you would like to win 10,000 naira every week? 10,000 naira every week. Okay. If you know 10,000 naira is not too small, okay, you need to memorize this link. Just one link. Just one link. JO.my/Omaluabi. JO.my/Omaluabi. If you know that 10,000 naira is not too small for you, okay, there is a challenge that we are launching. We call it Omaluabi Moment. Okay. So if you see an Omaluabi moment, someone demonstrates an Omaluabi act. And what are those Omaluabi moments? We read through all the books that have been written about Omaluabi, and we came up with 9 virtues, 9 of them. Number 1 is Owo, humility. Number 2, Inurere, goodwill. Number 3, Suru, patience. Number 4, Ishe, productivity or hard work. Number 5, Orosiso, effective articulation. And number 6, Otito, honesty. Number 7, Ogmoinu, insight. Number 8, Iwontunwonsi, moderation. You know, the lady spoke about dressing the other time. And number 9, Akinkanju, bravery, heroism. These 9 virtues, if you see anyone that demonstrates them, maybe you see a student that found money and returned it, just narrate it, capture it, and send it through that link. And your video may just be the one that will win 10,000 naira that week. That's all we want. We know we are all Omaluabi. We know there's an Omaluabi in all of us. And that moment is what we want captured. We not only want it captured, we want it showcased to the entire world. So, it's a challenge. And we believe we are trusting you to take up that challenge as from today. So just one link. Do we have the link now? Okay, can we say it out loud? Again, JOM. Yes, that's the most important link as from today on. I will invite my colleagues. They are looking regal, they are looking beautiful. Okay. This is a way of saying, you heard what that lady said. She's proud that she's Yoruba. She's not shy of it. She's ready to show it. And this is we at Dawn Commission saying that we are also proud to be Yoruba. We are not shy of it. And that's why we are launching this social mobilization program. We hope that you will join us. We are coming to your school very soon. We are coming to your community very soon. And we will invite you also to join us. But don't forget the Omoluabi Moment Challenge, which is a weekly challenge. Every week we will select the best video. The public will also select the best video, and the one that wins, or the one that gets judged as the best, will win 10,000 naira every week. So I will give my colleague the chance to whoever you like, the audience. All right. Yeah.
And one thing we want you to do as well is share the link with your friends. Don't just hoard it. It is not Omoluabi to hoard that link. Win 10,000. It is 10,000 every week for the winner of Omoluabi Challenge. And once the winner is identified, you won't have to fill application form to collect your money. Just send accounts. And as Omoluabi organization, you will get your money almost instantly. So we want you to propagate that link.
So you can see us. Everybody say, hi, Yoruba. Very soon we'll be coming to your school to do further mobilization. And I hope we have the teachers around as well. So these are what we are looking forward to, for you to also help us like impact into the students' life. There will be a mentorship program and some other initiatives that we've packaged for this program. So we look forward to seeing us coming to your school for this purpose. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. Ó kí gbogbo àwọn tó wà ní jókòó lénìí, gbogbo àwọn tó wá yẹ wá sí, gbogbo àwọn tó wá bá wa jókòó fún ètò yìí. We are very grateful for you all for coming. The great Nigerian students that are here today, the future of Southwest Nigeria, the future of Yoruba land. We thank you for coming. Ní agbára Ọlọ́run, gbogbo nǹkan tá a kọ́ níbí ilé ní, gbogbo nǹkan tá a gbọ́ níbí ilé ní, nǹkan rí la fi máa ṣe o. Gbogbo èrò wa fún ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, fún Southwest Nigeria, gbogbo ẹ̀ kò ní já sásán. Ọkọ̀ ọba ọ̀dẹ̀ níṣẹ́ yìí náà, ẹ má ṣe pátá o, ẹ má ṣe yahoo o. Ayé Yorùbá ní kẹ́ máa ṣe o. Residency 10,000 naira every week. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ DG Dawn Commission náà wípé ètò yìí wọn ò jẹ́ kó parun. In fact, àwọn gangan ni originator ètò yìí years ago. Ṣé bá mi ṣá wọn látẹ̀wọ́? Àwọn ò kì í ṣe ọ̀gá tó kọ̀ máa wà lọ́fíìsì tó kọ̀ máa sign paper. Àwọn náà máa ń bá wa dá sí programming, wọ́n create programs. So ọmọlúàbí ni wọ́n náà. Àwọn kan wà bí wọ́n ṣe ọmọlúàbí o, but ànímúrúkọ wọn jáde. So we thank you all for coming. We're very grateful. We look forward to having you at the next edition of the Yoruba historical conversations. And please, the way the commission operates, we have an open door policy. So you can always come in with ideas. You can always come, even for this Yoruba historical conversation program, we are always looking for ways we can scale some of our programs. So if you have ideas on how we can make it scalable, how we can expand the reach, how we can enrich the content, please knock on our doors, come in. And the young ones here, you do a lot of things on social media. Your generation is a fantastic generation. You know, you think with the snap of a finger. If there are things, think about what if you contribute. See that was okay, Southwest Nigeria. Please speak to your head teacher, let them get in touch with us. We'll have a sit down with you. I will help you fine-tune your ideas and bring it to reality. You know. Okay. So our guest speaker today, like we said earlier on at the beginning, is someone, he's probably an ad hoc staff of the Dawn Commission. I cannot call him a guest. You know, I'm sure somewhere there's an ID card in his room as a Dawn Commission staff. You know, and I would like him to, I think he's here with his family as well. It is important that we know him and we know his family. So, Prof, Eliba, káwọn èèyàn rí yín kọ́ rí family yín kọ́ fún yín láti ẹ̀wọ́. Ẹ máa bọ̀ lórí stage, in fact.
Thank you, Professor Additional. As Tayo said, well, coincidentally, it's also Tayo. And, you know, he has been with us all the way. And I will say it here. At no time has he ever demanded 1 naira from us. At no time has he ever demanded. Anytime we reach out to him, he is there for us. Àwọn kan, tẹ́ bá pè wọ́n, kí ló bá dé ni? They will ask you. We've reached out to people, his colleagues, not in this university. What they said is, okay, DG, a lè bá yín ṣe, èló lẹ máa san. It's as simple as that. For them, it's what they can get out of it. Professor Additional, we are very grateful for always answering our call. And I can't say it enough. He's an example of Omoluabi. It's not strange anyway. We went to the same university. Ife, OAU. But I can't sing the anthem here because it will be like a Tottenham fan singing the Tottenham anthem in National Stadium. They will beat me. So this is UI. So we acknowledge that UI molded him to become the person he is. Thank you very much, sir. And on behalf of our Omoluabi Challenge, we want to give you this to take away so that anybody that sees you and wants to wear it, I Yoruba, iPad, no, I Yoruba lele. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And where's photo? And this plaque of appreciation is awarded to Olutayo C. Additional, PhD, in grateful acknowledgements of the distinguished and invaluable services rendered as the guest of honor and speaker at the Dawn Commission Yoruba Historical Conversation Series, thereby contributing immeasurably to the prestige and historical knowledge of the Yoruba. Given this day, 15th day of October, 2025, at Dawn Commission. Dr. Shayole, Director General, Dawn Commission. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Eh? Oh, yeah. Picture. I do have anyone. Yeah. One capture. Doctor is money. Hello, yeah. Yeah. Pelumi, join us now. Photographer da. Please. The photographer. Oh, okay. Here, go. Are we done? Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
So it's our promise. We are bringing more shirts to your school. So don't worry. We don't want to cause a fight now. But we are coming to your school very soon. And I'm going to have a lot of these shirts to take home to show your friends. Okay. So don't worry. Just be patient with us. We want to thank all the teachers. We also have a program for the teachers also, which will reach out to you very soon. We realize how important you are, and we will also want you to be part of some of the things that we are doing. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming, and see you at the next edition of Yoruba Historical Conversation.
Please, if you are going out, collect a pack. There's a takeaway pack outside, though. Collect one. Please. Thank you.
So there's a special pack for the students, please. There's a special pack, but for the teachers and whoever wants to take palm wine, you can go ahead to take palm wine. You can drink as much as you want.
Students, don't take palm wine. No.
For students, your own is specially packed for you, please.
Okay, take palm wine.